All righty, good afternoon, everyone, and great to see everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting today, and just welcome to everyone. The year is going by quickly. We are almost there. We can see the finish line, and welcome to the folks that are out there in virtual world as well. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. From Jones Elementary School, the pledge will be performed virtually by Leticia Felix's third grade dual class and Rosario Villalobos' sixth grade dual class. Let's all stand, please. All right, well done, and thank you to both classes. Always great to see the kids. All right, we'll move on to 1.3, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion on the agenda or any items to be pulled? All righty, let's go ahead and vote on the agenda. Okay, agenda carries. We'll move on to 1.4, inspirational message, and today it will be by Dr. Barbara Flores.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. I just want to acknowledge that today is Teacher Appreciation Day, and in honor of all of us who are teachers, wore red today. And I was a teacher for 5 years in high school, and then I taught about 40 years as a teacher of teachers. And I am honored today on behalf of the Board of Education, our cabinet, our district administrators and managers, and our parents to pay tribute to all our teachers in San Bernardino City Unified School District. First, by reading a poem, and then by showing a video. And David, before you show the video, I'd like to say a couple of words to preface it. But before I read the poem to teachers, I just want all of us to remember that teachers are second parents to our children. Teachers are the glue that build the confidence, the will, the courage, the love of learning. Teachers are the rock and the water that create stability and provide the flow of creativity. And teachers are the ones that inspire, motivate, guide, nudge, support, and give love. And in that background, I'd like to read the poem Ode to Teachers by Pat Mora. I remember the first day, how I looked down, hoping you wouldn't see me. And when I glanced up, I saw your smile shining like a soft light from deep inside you. I'm listening, you encourage us. Come on, join our conversation. Let us hear your neon certainties, thorny doubts, tangled angers. But for weeks, I hid inside. I read and reread your notes praising my writing, and you whispered, we need you and your stories and questions that like a fresh path will take us to new vistas. Slowly, your faith grew into my courage, and for you, instead of handing you a note or apple or flowers, I raised my hand. I carry your smile and faith inside me like I carry my dog's face, my sister's laugh, creamy melodies, the softness of sunrise, and steady blessings of stars, autumn smell of gingerbread, and the security of a sweater on a chilly day. By Pat Mora. Ode to Teachers. And the next tribute to teachers is, without teachers, we wouldn't go to heights with our students. Our teachers, this is just one example of how our teachers collaborate, inspire, and work with our kids. And we had the honor, Dr. Wyatt, myself, Seven Diaz, and Dr. Enrique Murillo, Dr. Diaz, on Friday to be the judges at the Latino History Bee. I'm not sure everybody knows, but I believe we're the only ones in the nation that hold a Latino History Bee. And it was the brainstorm of Dr. Sandra Rodriguez and Mrs. Alba, Mrs. Ochoa, and Mrs. Cisneros 7 years ago. And of course, the board supported it, and our Anna Applegate, when you were coordinator and not a coordinator, director of ELs, and also now as the assistant superintendent of ed services in terms of providing all the services. And I'd like to thank the multilingual department, Mr. Tex Acosta, Natalie Morales, Melanie McGrath also was part of it a long time ago. All our staff who helped promote this, but especially our teachers. And so I would like to share with the board a video of what we do to support our kids and because we are for our kids. Thank you. It was a great event, and the kids loved it. It went a little bit too long, but I think given all their enthusiasm, it was really some of those questions I did not know. It was amazing, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Flores, and yes, it was a wonderful event. Ms. Medina, Rosales Medina?
Ask if they can, if it hasn't been shared on social media, we should definitely be sharing that video. It's amazing.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to 2.0, special presentations and recognitions. 2.1, resolution and recognition of California Student Mental Health Week. And we will start with Ms. Ceballos.
Thank you so much, Board President, Dr. Scott Wyatt, and welcome everyone. Good afternoon. So yes, resolution and recognition of California Student Mental Health Week. Whereas the week of May 9th through May 13th, 2022 is recognized as California Student Mental Health Week, and whereas students' mental health too often goes unnoticed, and research has shown that adverse childhood experiences have lasting harmful impacts if not addressed, and whereas reducing the stigma surrounding mental health will empower students to speak up when they need help, and whereas the early identification, intervention, and treatment of mental health and behavioral issues is important for a healthy student body and school community, and whereas researchers have found the rate of mental health disorders in children and youth have steadily increased over the past 2 decades, and our students' lives have been changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with emotional stability likely to be a focus of concern for years to come. And whereas districts, through their unique role in serving children and youth, have an opportunity to address student health early and effectively, and the need for comprehensive, coordinated mental health services for students is a critical part of an overall education plan. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District hereby proclaims the week of May 9th through May 13th, 2022 as California Student Mental Health Week, and acknowledges the importance of student mental health through all grade levels, and recognizes year-round attention is paramount to the health and success of students. So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. All righty, motion carries. Move on to 2.2, resolution and recognition of Classified School Employee Week, and that will be Dr. Dowdy Rogers.
I put on my light versus my mic. So you can turn it off.
Yes, you may go.
2.2, thank you, Dr. Wyatt. Whereas in 1986, California Senate Bill 1552 established the third week of each May as Classified School Employees Week in order to recognize the vital contributions of these employees, and whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world. And whereas classified employees are the backbone of our public education system and work directly with students, educators, parents, and volunteers, business partners, and the community members. And whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students. And whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and dedication nurture students throughout their school year. And whereas in order for the district to run efficiently and effectively, it depends daily on the dedication and capabilities of its more than 2,400 classified employees. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District proclaims May 15th through May 21, 2022, Classified School Employee Week, and strongly encourages all members of the district and our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work of these individuals. So moved.
Second.
All
All right, it's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
Dr. Wyatt, it didn't go through.
That's probably because I didn't hit it. Thank you. All right, motion carries. We'll move on to 2.3, resolution and recognition of National School Nurse Day, and it'll be Ms. Rosales Medina.
Thank you, President Wyatt. Whereas May the 11th, 2022 is National School Nurse Day, and whereas school nurses have served a critical role in improving public health and ensuring students' academic success for more than 100 years, and whereas students today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school, and whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for the nation's children, and whereas school nurses act as liaisons between the school and community and families, and whereas the 2022 theme is School Nurse Bridging Healthcare and Education, school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference in children every day. Therefore, be resolved that the Board of Education of San Bernardino City Unified School District proclaims May 11th, 2022 National School Nurse Day and acknowledges the accomplishments of the district students, nurses, and their continued efforts to meet the needs of today's students to help them stay healthy and in school ready to learn. So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. We'll move on to 2.4. And resolution and recognition of National Teacher Appreciation Week, California Day of the Teacher, and San Bernardino Unified School District's Day of the Teacher. Dr. Barbara Flores.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. Honored to do this. Whereas National Teacher Appreciation Week is observed annually during first full week of May and sponsored by the National PTA, and whereas the second Wednesday in May is recognized as California Day of the Teacher, which arose out of the legislation co-sponsored by the California Teachers Association and the Association of Mexican American Educators and adopted in 1982. And whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, spending countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students. And whereas teachers have been responsible for educating millions of students since the state's founding and have led efforts to promote and advance educational opportunities for all. And whereas the 2022 National Teacher Appreciation Week theme is Teaching is a Work of Heart, and the California Day of the Teacher theme is California Educators, at the heart of communities, powering our future. And whereas a strong, effective system of free public education for all children and youth is essential in our democratic system of government. And whereas May 13th, 2022 is the day San Bernardino City Unified School District honors its teachers who are second to none in their chosen profession. And whereas, despite the ongoing challenges of COVID-19 pandemic and facing personal and professional challenges, our teachers continue to work tirelessly to provide student instruction. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District proclaims the week of May 2nd through May 6th, 2022 as National Teacher Appreciation Week and May 11th, 2022 as California Day of the Teacher, and urges all citizens to pay tribute to our public school teachers. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education proclaims May 13th, 2022 as the day to celebrate the district's exceptional teachers and express our gratitude to their service, dedication, and professional excellence, and ask the San Bernardino City Unified School District family and community to come together to make a difference in the lives of our students. Mr. Tillman.
Moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries, and definitely a huge thank you to all of our teachers. I'm sure we'll hear that quite a bit today. We'll move on to 3.0, public comments. 3.1, receive public comments. This is the only time the public will have an opportunity to address the board on items not on the agenda and within their subject matter jurisdiction, such as district policies, procedures, programs, services, or fiscal matters. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. 6 or more people who wish to speak on one topic will be provided no more than 30 minutes total. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because these comments are made at a public meeting. We will start with our first comment. It says 2 virtual comments. I'm not sure what that means on there, Karen. Okay, that'll be after? All right, thank you. All right, we'll start with Mr. Eddie Garcia. Welcome, Mr. Garcia. I think you're here with a different hat today, right?
I'm
Couple?
not sure which hat I'm wearing today, to be honest.
All right.
It's all a blur. Well, today, actually, I am coming to you as a part of the president of the Making Hope Happen Foundation. But before I start, I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Wyatt, Vice President Tillman, and members of the cabinet, and Superintendent Irvin. Thank you so much for having me here. Now, today I come with sharing great news about the Making Hope Happen Foundation. And basically, it's our gala's back. Our annual gala, really excited. So next week, Thursday, May 12th, we'll be holding a gala at the Arrowhead Springs Resort. We're gonna have 300 people come together, and these 300 people have generously given of their time and their treasure to provide more opportunities for students and families at San Bernardino City Unified School District. I'm really excited about that. Now, during the gala, we're going to be celebrating our very first HOPE Awards, and that's Hope, obviously. We'll be honoring the following individuals and organizations. A Hero for Hope, which is H, for Miss Melanie McGrath, whose consistent dedications and her payroll have funded an annual scholarship that celebrates biliteracy. An organization that gives opportunities, which is the O, and that's to the Loma Linda University. So very happy about that. Our patron donor, that's the P, Mr. Bill Lemon, who's made the largest endowment in our organization. It's the Robert L. Harbison Scholarship. And finally, our empowering friends, which is the E, Dignity Common Spirit Health, and they're for helping the Making Hope Happen do more with families and students. Now, we're also going to have the teen music workshop that's going to be performing, as well as talented student artists who's going to be creating live artistry right there in front of everybody. So it's a celebration of the district, the power of philanthropy together under one historic roof. And as of today, this event is completely sold out, but don't worry. We saved you each a ticket if you'd like to come join us. So I hope you will be able to do so. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We definitely are looking forward. Our folks in the district were able to pull together their art displays in less than 24 hours when we asked them. So amazing job. Looking forward to that and seeing their great work, and as well as the gala. Thank you for all your work that you've done for there. All righty. Our next public comment will be Dana Howard. Come on up, Miss Howard. Oh, sorry, Mr. Howard. Sorry.
worries, and thank you very much. My name is Dana Howard. I am the Director of Communications, Outreach, Recruitment, and Enrollment for the California Conservation Corps, and thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you. Sure. Usually I don't have that problem. My wife often tells me, will you just lower it a little bit? So my name is Dana Howard. I am the Director of Communication, Outreach, Recruitment, and Enrollment, or CORE, for the California Conservation Corps. And thank you for letting me speak with you for just a few moments. The California Conservation Corps is a state of California program. We are a department within the state of California. So we are not a nonprofit. We are not a company. We are a state department. We were founded in 1976 by Governor Jerry Brown when he was governor the first time. And we are now the oldest and largest conservation corps in the nation. We are the only conservation corps that is operated by the state of California. So I'm saying that to you so that there's clarity around that. We are here to offer services to 18 to 25-year-olds. Our core members must be 18. They cannot be 16 or 17, and we won't even talk to them before they turn 18 years old. So they must be adults, and they cannot have turned 29 if they're military, or 30 if they're a military veteran. We are really trying to make sure that the students, the 18-year-olds, especially those who are about to graduate from your schools, are fully aware about the benefits that are available to them through the California Conservation Corps. Some of your board members, Dr. Gwen Dowdy Rogers was kind enough to have a brief conversation with me. Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Esquivel also talked with me a little bit earlier this week. But I want to make sure that all the board members and the superintendents and assistant superintendents, and especially Dr. Irvin, superintendent, you're aware that what we do. We offer paid training. The core members receive $2,400 a month. That will likely go up in just a couple more weeks. And it provides a pathway to our fellow state departments like Caltrans, CAL FIRE, state parks, the Department of Water Resources. And it provides those career opportunities for the core members where they might be struggling to figure out how do they get that career started. The California Conservation Corps can be a place. CAL FIRE right now is hiring our core members by the dozens to become wildland firefighters. And those turn into immediate careers that are starting at $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, and within just a few years are in six digits. So I want to make sure that the populations and the communities that we all serve are fully aware about the opportunities that are available. That is not a monolithic approach or perspective of that these types of careers are for specific segments of our state. Our motto in California is a California for all. And that's what we are here to make sure that we can deliver. You do not need to be a citizen to be a member to be a core member. You only need to be lawfully present. And as well, you need to be 18 through 25 years old. And as well, you don't need a high school diploma. You don't need a college degree. About 20% of the core members come in and they have a college degree. About 12 to 14% are still needing to finish their high school diploma. We will help them do that. And the other 65, 66% are folks who have had some high school, have not completed A through G upon graduation, and they're coming into the CCC. And the careers that we do offer them the training in is not necessarily one that's going to need a 4-year degree. While we will gladly help them do that, it's not necessary. And in fact, while they're in the CCC, they can earn up to $8,000 in scholarship each year that they're in the CCC, up to a maximum of 3 years that they're in the CCC. So I wanted to share that with you, and as well, hope that if we do approach you about, hey, can you help us get the word out? Can you provide us access to the schools here and to the principals so that they as well are knowledgeable about the benefits that can be offered to They're graduating seniors who are 18 years old, that you're able to help us do that. And just imagine for someone who is graduating from high school, has not completed A through G, and they can immediately enter in the CCC
Time.
and start earning $2,400 a month. So I'm hopeful that you will be able to, hopeful that you'll be able to help us do that. And thank you for allowing me this time.
Mr. Howard, thank you as well. And you can see we have a lot of lights up here, and that usually means questions, just so you know.
okay.
So
That
luckily
means I stay.
that means you stay. You
Okay.
get to respond now, so you get some extra minutes. Because did you bring any information for us?
Yes, I do have
All right.
some folders, and I can leave them wherever. Do you want me to leave them?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham, great.
So thank you. And then two, I want to say thank you to we call them the Cs. I've had about 2 decades, about 20 years of work with them with the County Office of Ed programs.
Oh, wonderful.
So I'm wondering, do you have openings in the Cs right now? Is that something
Yes.
that we're hearing?
That is why I am here at our Inland Empire Center. So we operate 25 centers across the state, and one of them is our Inland Empire Center. It is a non-residential center, meaning that there is not housing provided at that center. The Corps members must commute there, and then we transport them to their work site. We have a forestry corps program there. We have a fire program there, and trails as well. So that's the focus of the Inland Empire Center. So yes, there are immediate openings, and they could start earning and getting paid as early as June.
All righty. Thank you very much, Ms. Ceballos.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming and providing us with this information. And how can we get him connected with our schools for our students? This is great. I heard that you had left some information here for us. I'm assuming that has information like what are the requirements, application process, like all that good stuff, right?
Yes, correct. And I can also email you that has far more information with links to videos and links to how to apply.
I would absolutely love that. If you can email Ms.
I can get that from Ms. Cunningham, and she can provide your
Please.
email addresses, and I can send that directly to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Ceballos, Dr. Flores?
Thank you. Really appreciate you coming down and sharing all of that. And it'll benefit our community, and that's what we want. We want to provide as many services for our kids as possible. So just to clarify, what are the specific services or the certificates that they will earn is it the Inland Empire Corps? Okay. And it's non-residential, right?
Correct.
Okay, so can you repeat?
I can list to you a couple of them. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Oh, does it? Okay, so what are some
it's not-
highlights?
So at the Inland Empire Center, they can get basic firefighter training that will allow them to apply to, for instance, Bureau of Land Management. That is what the principal partner with the Inland Empire Center, but they can also go to CAL FIRE and to a county fire. They can get certification in forestry that will allow them to pursue a path in CAL FIRE as a forest tech, but with private companies like a large arborist, I can't say the name because I don't know if I'm allowed to here, but for instance, in this area, you have an extremely large arborist company that is working with the state of California with International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers to train line tree trimmers, meaning that they go up to the power lines that have vegetation growing around them, and they have to cut those down. A journeyman level at that is $40 to $50 an hour. They can start off at the training at that at about $22 an hour, and with us, they will at that $2,400 a month get the certification necessary for the entry level into that training. That within about 18 months, they will be at that journeyman level. So there are literally thousands of these jobs coming into being as the governor has allocated $1.5 billion for fire prevention, including removing the vegetation around power lines that the utility companies have been embroiled in, as you well know, for possible creation of a wildfire. So those power lines now have to be trimmed away from vegetation. that is thousands of jobs coming into the market.
How many openings do you have?
At the Inland Empire Center, we have 95 slots at any given time. Right at immediate, there's probably about 35 to 40. Our recruitment manager, Sarah Cornwell, is right here behind me, and so she's saying, no, it's
When can
higher.
our kids make applications?
They can go to ccc.ca.gov, ccc.ca.gov, click on Join Now. It's an online application. That is the way that it must be done. We do not take
Online?
paper applications.
Online?
Yes,
Okay. So you only have 95 slots here. And
At-
are there other slots in other places?
correct. So we operate centers all around the state. We have at our residential centers as well, the firefighting and the forestry, and those are where the core members would live on site. Total within the CCC, there are 1,623 positions at any given time.
1,600?
And 23.
And 23, okay.
Enrollment is year-round. It is every single month. People come and people go. And so it's not a case where there's 1,600 slots and that's it for the year. It's not a one-time thing.
It's recurring.
It is,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Mhm.
Thank you so much. That's
All right.
really positive. Really, really positive.
Yeah, we think it is a great
Yeah.
program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. Dr. Daddy Rogers.
Thank you, and thank you. I think you did it in 5 minutes like I knew you would. But I knew this was it's just important information for our board to know, especially during the crucial times that we're in when we don't know where the students are going to go forward with their college, but we do want to also offer this other opportunity. And I think you touched on it again, but which was most important to me is your local presence. And that just can't be shared enough. And I think Mr. Salas Medina got our question answered. We just want to make sure that people know how to get in touch, even though our district is going to do their part, but we want the viewing audience also to know how they can access, how they can, go online and begin to engage, because I think one of the concerns that I had when we talked was oftentimes we think it's a competition with our students, and you've made that very clear. If our students are graduating or what should happen towards the end, you're not coming here to compete or contractually engage. You're coming to give an option. So we appreciate you coming down to the 909 area code, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Very good. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you again.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, our next public comment will be Mr. Terry Boykins. Welcome.
Well, good evening, board. Dr. Irvin, Dr. Wyatt, I want to say thank you for having Project Fighting Chance back in the house. We're excited about being back in this side of the country. First, I want to say thank you on behalf of Project Fighting Chance for giving us support, looking at us as a vendor. It's so amazing how quick the school year has gone by with regards to everyone being back after the pandemic, being back in person. We have been busy at Project Fighting Chance continuously, and so I want to say thank you for the support you've given us and all the youth, which I've just left. The enrollment continues to grow. Just more, the school's coming out, more and more youth are coming in here. Dr. Wyatt, I want to say thanks for participating in the S Factor. We had a great series with the district attorney's office talking about sex trafficking, sexual assault, harassment, teen dating, violence, all those things that could interrupt, particularly young ladies with regards to trauma, will interfere with her ability to learn in the classroom because of the environment. I am going to circulate one of the things that's coming up that's pretty major with Project Fighting Chance. And so if I can approach the board. One of the things that's happened with Project Fighting Chance, in addition to what we've done in our enrichment program and after school, we began to work with the private sector, particularly as it deals with childhood trauma. And looking at this particular issue with regards to adverse childhood experiences and what impact that will have on the labor force of the future has caught the attention of the construction industry. Dr. Rodriguez has been informed earlier. We've invited her to be a part of this. It will be virtual on the 18th of May. You have the flyer in front of you. And what we will be doing is assembling the top female executives in the construction industry that will be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They'll talk about childhood trauma, Ms. Sabalas, as you mentioned with regards to the mental health piece, what does our workforce look like 10, 15 years from now with some of the issues that young people are encountering in their adverse childhood experiences? This has caught the attention of industry across the country. We have psychologists, psychiatrists, pediatricians, educators, top female executives that run construction companies. We have individuals from the labor unions. We have individuals from trade schools. They have been in contact with Project Fighting Chance because of the work we've been doing with youth after school, dealing with anger issues, behavioral issues, being able to get into our enrichment program, into our boxing gym. They have come to our respective location at the Home Enabling Service and have been very interested as to what we're doing within the school district after school as relates to what their future labor force will be looking like. This will be a virtual platform. I'm looking forward to Dr. Rodriguez joining us. I think it's going to be exciting. I can tell you the lineup that we have planned is absolutely stellar, phenomenal. To tune into this and listen to what industry, these individuals, just like the gentleman that left, that will be hiring these young people 10, 15 years from now, 5 years from now. What does the workforce look like? What is going to be productivity relative to issues and coping skills and attention and attainment? The whole bit, it's going to be a very interesting feature by Project Fighting Chance. And we're being contacted by companies and organizations around the United States, which is very exciting right now. And so the other thing I wanted to share, as I mentioned with Dr. Wyatt, to come out and really had a good time with regards to talking with these young ladies. Virtually, a hybrid, we've had a chance to interact with over 100 young ladies and their parents, their caregivers, about the risk of situations of sexual assault and sex trafficking and abuse. Phenomenal use of that boxing gym for young ladies to deal with some of the issues that come their way. And last but not least, without a question, back from Cleveland, Ohio, we brought home the gold. #1 amateur boxer in the United States, terrible Terry Washington. And the thing that was motivating is who he dedicated this to. And you all know, Dr. Margaret Hill. Terry had a chance with Dr. Margaret Hill and Dr. Melanie Lay, both passed, that were a part of this young man's life. And he went in with that mindset, and we got him ready. I remember dropping him off at LAX. And he said, "This is for you, Dr. Hill," and came back with the gold medal back to San Bernardino, California. Once again, you all, we have brought home the top amateur boxing championship, bar none, in USA boxing. And we want to say thank you for letting us be a part of what you all are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Boykins. I do believe Dr. Flores has a question for you.
Hey, Dr. Flores.
Thank you so much for all that you do. It's really important, especially, I mean, just that we got the gold and you invested and so forth, but also for our young women. I
Yes.
think that's really, really important. And then my question to you is, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago, Carpenters Union approached us, but we didn't follow through about, you know, setting up a pathway for carpentry. And I'm just wondering if you know anything about that, or if they have a women's carpentry pathway, or just carpentry pathways that we could, you know, begin to investigate.
We
Possibly.
do. In answer to your question, you know, it's been interesting talking with these executives from the construction industry. As you all may know, the construction industry right now is comprised of about 10.3% of female throughout the entire industry. $1.6 trillion in billings with regards to
$1.6 trillion.
$1.6 trillion in the state of California. Those are the individuals that are talking to Project Fighting Chance right now. The carpenters union, electrical unions, AFL, CIO, all of these individuals who are in contact with Project Fighting Chance because they're concerned about the mental health of our young people, what's happened with regards to the pandemic, what's happened with regards to assault, with regards to abandonment. Is the coping mechanism that goes into the labor force and the impact of productivity. And with regards to carpentry, we have the trades that will basically be heavily represented, which the construction industry
Right.
is comprised of. And so we will basically be not only having an engaged panel discussion with them, we are also going to be doing follow-ups and pathways for those individuals and students and scholars to be able to get access to these executives right here in San Bernardino from Project Fighting Chance for opportunities for economic sustainability.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Appreciate it. So I could register to be on this as well,
Yeah, you
right?
got to register.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
going
great.
to look for your name on the registration here. So,
Okay. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
please. Thank you.
Ms. Boykins, I just want to give a shout out, first of all, to our young man, Mr. Terry, that he is going to be an Olympic hopeful, right? And
He
we're going to
is.
need to back him and support him. Our communities come out and support him to make sure he gets those Olympic trials and then eventually be an Olympic champion. So,
Yeah,
what we
we
need.
right now are, of course, the next move is kind of bittersweet, but we'll have him here for a little bit. But Colorado looks like to be the next place. That's where the Olympic athletes train. Of course, boxing is a big part. USA Boxing is huge. It's been exciting to see him come from a 9-year-old boy over on Date Street to the #1 amateur boxer in the United States.
What is his name again?
Terry Washington.
Terry Washington.
Terry Washington. And so, yeah, this is exciting, but we will definitely keep you posted. We've been in contact with USA Boxing in the Olympics, and here we go again. So we want to say thank you all and have a great summer.
Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you.
All righty, our next public speaker is Kristen. I hope it's Hayden or Haddon? Haddon, welcome. Come on up. And I think there's 3 of you, so have 15 minutes, okay? We'll take the goodie bags right now.
Yeah, you
No,
will.
I'm just kidding.
We can do that now. All right, good evening, Superintendent Irvin, Board President Wyatt, and all the other board members. We're glad to see you all again and feel like it's been so long. My name is Kristen Haddon, and I'm one of the founders and directors from Soar Charter Academy. We're just excited to be here and feel like like I said, it's been so long. So over the time of COVID, we knew that students were going to come back more than ever needing ways to express themselves and be creative in a hands-on way. So during that time of heavy technology of these kids being at home and online learning, we used a lot of our funds and energy to create our school makerspace. This space was going to allow them to focus on hands-on projects and learn technology and crafting skills that they can apply to their daily lives all the way up to their future careers. Some of the beginning equipment we started with was two 3D printers, a laser cutter, variety of tools, 2 iMac computers, and video equipment. Our students have enthusiastically taken over that space, and it's inspiring to see their skills and their voices grow. We've noticed students of all ages wanting to be in the space creating. One of the projects that's come out of our makerspace are the nameplates that we gave you tonight. These students designed, created, and made these for you using our laser cutter. This is just one of the many projects that our students have created. Our makerspace is a K-8 learning environment, and all grades have created a project in this space. Some of the projects are laser cut Christmas ornaments, monthly news broadcasts that are shown throughout our school, stop motion animation, 3D printing, and even earrings that all the moms are gonna get in the grade level for Mother's Day. We're continuing to train our students on safety and the ability to use their voice and ideas to expand this space in their upcoming years. And hopefully you guys appreciate our kids' hard work with the nameplates you got tonight.
Good evening. My name is Tricia Lancaster. I'm also co-founder and the executive director of Soar. We are wanting to celebrate with you. We are so proud of Soar Charter Academy and its staff. It was announced last week by CDE that we are among 57 schools in the county of San Bernardino and 5 schools in the San Bernardino City Unified that are being recognized for the California Pivotal Practice Award for the 2021 school year. When the stay-at-home order was issued on March 13th of 2020, our staff didn't skip a beat. Keeping the lines of communication open with our families was top priority. We didn't want to lose contact with our families as they went home. The week following the order, we held virtual student-led conferences, and then our spring break was scheduled. Our staff gave up their spring break to do some professional development on distance learning and begin planning for this new adventure in educating our students. We purchased and passed out tech, curriculum, and supplies to our families within 2 weeks of the closure. We supported our families that did not have internet service by purchasing hotspots for them. We quickly set up a meal program for our community and SOAR families, serving about 1,000 meals a week. This all occurred while trying to prioritize the well-being of our staff and students. Our mental health counselor did her best, attempted sessions with our students and staff virtually. We also changed some of our staff roles to accommodate the new ways of operating a school, since many of their jobs on campus became obsolete. We didn't want to fire anyone, so we just changed their roles. Most of our support staff became student and classroom support during Zooms. They helped run breakout rooms to work one-on-one or in small group with our students. Many of our classified staff also helped re-engage students that were not participating in distance learning. Our parent liaison and our discipline counselor made multiple home visits with social distancing to support our families that were not engaging, so that we could find out what needs needed to be met so they would engage. We also delivered meals to about 11 of our families that could not make it to SOAR. Last year was a challenging year for everyone. We recognize that. SOAR synergized more than ever, and together we pivoted to give our students the best we could possibly give them during such a difficult time. We tried to create some normalcy with our school culture by offering a small library each week at meal pickup for students to choose books to read at home. There was no checkout. They just came and took them. Doing drive-by celebrations like a Halloween trunk or treat, Christmas drive-through with pictures with Santa. One of our staff members dressed up and met them at the car window. The kids stayed in, and we took pictures at the cars with them. Directors delivered gifts on Staff Appreciation Week to every staff member, no matter where they lived. And we had a drive-up kinder and 8th grade promotion at the end of the year to celebrate the ending of their years. And we did a drive-by farewell at the end of the year and had our entire side of the street lined up with our booths of every grade level, and the families just drove down the street waving and delivering presents, and the teachers that had things for them gave them things. We are very honored to be recognized, and we thank you for also allowing us to celebrate with you. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tammy Martinez, also one of the directors. It's been a while since I've been here. So many new faces and so little time to catch up. But we just wanted to highlight a few of our things that have been going on since we last were able to be here. Soar is a Leader in Me school, which is based off of the Covey's Highly Effective People. It's a program that brings leadership down to the kindergarten level all the way up. We became a Lighthouse school, which is a model school for student leadership. And part of that being a Lighthouse school, we have an annual leadership day, which unfortunately has been virtual the last few years. So this year we created a video, which I did send, but we wanted to show a short clip of part of our community service. Usually the Villas retirement home comes to the school each year for a Thanksgiving luncheon. They've done that for I don't even know how many years now, but because of COVID, they've been unable to come, and it wasn't safe enough for our students to go there, so they presented them some gifts on Valentine's Day, and when they sent us the photos of the expressions on these residents' faces, we wanted to share with you really quickly on that event that took place.
So we are here with second grade students.
Hi.
Hello. So here we have
Ricardo.
and
Aaliyah.
And
Chloe.
all right. And so we're here today to show some of our community service projects we've been working on. So who wants to go ahead and tell us what we've been doing?
We made gift bags,
Mm-hmm.
and we also made tic-tac-toe games that we created
And where did you make these?
in
The maker
The
space
makerspace.
with Mr. Hicks. Awesome. And then what do they say on these tic-tac-toe games?
out
To,
our friends at the villas.
and then you guys all signed your names.
I didn't get any candy yet, and this is my first candy. Thank you. Happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mason.
Thank you, Aaliyah.
Thanks, Isaiah.
Thank you so much, kids. It's a lot of hard work and we really appreciate it. You're just darling. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. You made my evening.
So why do we do community service? Who thinks they want to share? Why do we do that here at Soar?
To make people know that they're not alone.
And just to add that the video was student created by a team of videographers that we are training in the makerspace. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And I believe Dr. Flores has a question for you.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. It's so beautiful, so touching.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Love.
It is.
It's about giving love and showing love and so forth. And I congratulate you on your Lighthouse Award.
Thank you.
And for, making leadership central to all of your kids. And I love my, so I'm going to put it right here. Did the kids do this?
They did.
Oh, I'm
They
going to write them a
did.
thank you note, but
thank you.
please tell them thank you for
We
it.
will,
It's just
definitely.
beautiful. It's
Absolutely.
gorgeous.
Glad you
So
liked
anyway, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you for letting
And
us share.
when we chartered you, right? You're our teachers. You're our teachers from our district, and
We are.
So we appreciate you.
And we
very,
appreciate
very
you
much.
as well.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank
Glad to be back.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. Vice President Tillman.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Time flies. How many years have you guys been with the district now?
14.
And you have just as much enthusiasm as you did the first day.
We do, yes. Things
Not as-
constantly
not as
keeping
many-
us on our toes.
Not as many tears, but
This is true. This is true. We have come here in tears before. We won't lie.
where are the villas?
The Villas is 30th by H Street, E Street, H Street, I believe, up there. They've been busing the residents in. Our second graders used to do a second grade Thanksgiving luncheon for them. At least 10 years.
Wonderful.
And then we didn't want to lose that connection when the pandemic hit and they couldn't come, and it's still not quite safe to expose the kids to that environment. So they came up with that idea, and it was brilliant.
Wonderful. And congratulations on your award, and thank you for the gift. We
All
appreciate
right,
it.
thank you for having us. So nice to see you again, and hopefully it'll be again soon.
No,
Have a
thank you
great
very
evening.
much. And I can assure you it will be up in my office. It's absolutely perfect. Professional quality. Thank you. All right, our next public comment is Ms. Negretti. Good evening.
Good evening. I have some copies for you. Unfortunately, part of the information I needed to share was cut off, so I will give you the original. I have only one set and then these to kind of reference if you could share them along. I will begin with sharing with you that I understand that there were some issues at Rodriguez. There was an issue with a student being assaulted in the bathroom, sexually assaulted in the bathroom. There were 2 students who were caught having sex in a classroom. And when I questioned what's going on, my understanding is that the classrooms are being left open. So with that being said, I will share with you what I had shared with Mr. Clyde and one of the counselors. Good morning, Mr. Clyde. I am contacting you because you are the principal, and as such, you can decide a solution and not necessarily a punishment for any other student. On Wednesday, April 20th, I emailed the following to Ms. Atencio, and that's the counselor. Good morning, Ms. Atencio. Good morning, Ms. Atencio. I would like to discuss with you a serious issue that involves two Rodriguez students. One is my child, and the other one is one of her classmates. There has been some adult content dialogue, and he requested nudes from her. She didn't send any, to my knowledge. We checked. There has been, to avoid further detriment of my child on social and emotional well-being, I am requesting that Rodriguez Prep transfer the other student to another strand, since they have all the classes in the same period. I am aware that there are other options, such as filing sexual harassment complaints on behalf of my child and filing with applicable SBC-USD departments and additional entities outside of SBC-USD umbrella. Ms. Atencio replied that Rodriguez takes sexual harassment seriously and an investigation would start immediately. She could speak to my daughter and have her provide a written statement, and also asked that I send her additional details that I had firsthand knowledge or anything else that would make my daughter feel unsafe. And so I attached to Mr. Clyde what I shared with you. So it paints pretty much a very good picture. And so here I am, as a mother of both boys and girls. I understand both sides of having, hormonal teenagers. With that said, I don't want an investigation to cause issues that may arise out of this. If this isn't handled appropriately, such as harassment towards my child, meaning the friends of the kid, right? I understand that there is curiosity about sex given their age. I hope that I am clear that I don't want my daughter to feel more uncomfortable than she already does. I am asking for a reasonable solution to this for the other student, and so that the other student can receive sexual harassment refresher or the course if he didn't take it during 7th grade. I'm also asking that the student be transferred to another strand, which is composed of the same teachers but during different periods and a different lunch. I would prefer to not press this matter any further if it could be solved with those changes. I let him know I had attached those images to, with the email. And so to clarify, I wanted a solution and not an investigation. And that's pretty much what I closed with him. I said, I want this resolved, not investigated. As I shared with you, I am a mom of both boys and girls. This district has moved into the matter of let's find not punishment, but guidance for the children. And so here we were, this moved on from the 20th to having a meeting with Mr. Clyde on the 29th. When he said, let's have a meeting, although I had insisted, let's resolve this in a different matter. It's pretty easy. I walked in on the 29th and Dr. Funches was there. Mr. Clyde made no intent to state that we were having a meeting with one of the assistant superintendents. This is not the first time. So I'm also concerned of where this is going, whether this is to coerce or manipulate the outcome, what they expect. Because this is the second time that Dr. Funches is involved in something with students. I have been a parent, most of you know me, I have been a parent in this district for a very long time. My boys graduated from here. I try to find a solution. When nothing happens or things are handled, you see me here. And so to have him, an assistant superintendent, for the second time at a meeting, so what's going on? Who oversees what he does? Because is he meeting with parents every time something happens, or is he just doing because he does want to manipulate the outcome? We did it the last time I shared with you, my husband got called into a meeting with him and everyone else because he wanted my daughter tested the next day or quarantined. So when all of you were here talking about COVID and saying how it should be private, then make sure that those who don't need to know, don't know. And I was back there shaking my head like, that's not true. Although, your COVID staff was saying nope, it remains private. No, it's not true because here we are. So who evaluates him? Who sees that this is not something that's becoming a norm? Because it's not just our family. I know of another employee who, the same thing, daughter was having issues. She was being harassed. Nothing got done. And then next thing you know, she's being called to school police and has, administration from school police there asking her what's going on. So what is going on in this process to manipulate these things?
Thank you, Mr. Greddy.
Thank you.
All right, I believe that's it for in-person public comments. We have 2 virtual comments, public comments, excuse me. Looks like Dr. Shirley Jean. Welcome.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me. Hello, Superintendent, school board members, and community. My name is Dr. Shirley Jean, and I am an adapted physical education specialist for the district. I am speaking as a parent and also as an educator. I have twin boys who are 3 years old. The district has recently set one of my boys up for success by allowing him to attend preschool while keeping one of them back from attending school. And I'm sure many other students or many other parents may be faced with the same or similar dilemma. One of them is allowed to attend preschool based on his eligibility for an IEP. However, his twin brother is not allowed to go to school because of my income. The district allows children to go to school based on their income and the poverty guidelines for preschool. For a family of 4, the maximum income ceiling is $7,441. My normal salary was $7,262.69, plus a $62.50 stipend for having a doctorate degree. In addition, I receive $187 for mileage. My position is itinerant. I work at 27 schools in the district. That brings my total income to $7,512.19. My child would qualify if I was a regular classroom teacher and did not have a mileage stipend, which again is not a lot of money for a family of 4, especially before deductions. That places me above the income guidelines by $71. I asked for payroll to remove the mileage stipend, and they stated that they could, but my child still wouldn't be able to go because we just received a raise April 1st. Many families are affected by this discrepancy. Parents are told that their students can only go to school if they meet the income eligibility. So if you decide to get a decent job, such as becoming a teacher, then your children will suffer and not be allowed to attend school, at least preschool. However, if you choose a career that will assist you in gaining generational wealth, then your children may not be able to continue forward until they reach kindergarten. So the district is basically telling parents that they shouldn't choose careers that will amount to making at or even slightly above the poverty guidelines, because the district is telling the families to depend on those low income programs so that their children can still go to school. But depending on those resources is not helping the families within a community to acquire assets and build generational wealth for their kids. We have many families who are living in apartments with no rent control, and yet they're on these programs, but they're unable to get housing because if they do decide to go make a better living, then they won't qualify. Education should be free for all students to acquire, even at the age of 3. I am an educator teaching students with disabilities, but I cannot even provide a free and affordable education for my own child. It is challenging for me to speak. If you see my face, I just had jaw reconstruction surgery less than 2 weeks ago. I shouldn't even be talking. My jaw was broken in 3 places. I have braces, and those braces could have assisted with correcting my medical problems. But I elected to have this medical procedure on my face so that I could take a medical leave, so that my income would lower and my second child would hopefully be able to attend school in the fall. I'm still having severe pain and I'm bleeding as I speak. My mouth is bended. It's a shame because even my students who are on my APE caseload, they're not receiving any services right now because I had to take a leave of absence and there's no one to pick up my caseload. I am willing to sacrifice any and everything, including my health, for my child to receive an education. The district would rather me educate other children and not be able to provide an education to my own. My children are facing many social, emotional problems and anxiety due to the separation. This is the first time they've gone through this separation. One attends daycare, the other goes to preschool. My husband has to run to 2 different places at the same time and then go back and pick up the other one at 11 to take him to the preschool. The district is not showing that they truly care about families and their social emotional wellness. It's sending the wrong message to our parents and our families. I know I'm not alone on this matter because as I know, many district employees and parents have to rely on private school and daycare until their kids are TK kinder age. Preschool should not be determined based on income. all children deserve to have equal access to the curriculum. It is my hope that the district recognize the discrepancy and remove the income guidelines for children to attend school, preschool. Dr. Flores had beautiful tributes for teachers, but it doesn't make me proud to be a teacher. In fact, it's almost insulting because I chose a career that tried to make a difference for others, but I can't even help my own child. You know, you say free public education for all students is essential, but it's determined based on income. So I just ask that you all review those guidelines and take what I have to say into consideration. Thank you for your time, board.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. Oh, did she leave? I'm sorry. Did she already go?
Yeah, we couldn't ask her a question. I think that's a personnel matter. We can just reach out to
Okay.
her.
We'll have to reach out to her, Dr.
only
Flores.
reach
Sorry
out.
about that.
Tell her.
Is it a, it's not about personnel though, right? No. Okay. Dr. John, are you still there? We had a question for you from
I'm
Dr.
still here.
We had a question
still
for
here.
you from Dr. Flores, please.
It's not just a question. I just thank you for speaking up and for sharing your circumstance. And I really appreciate that you shared that, and it will help others as well. And hopefully, it can be resolved. So thank you in your favor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Flores, for acknowledging that. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, it's a fight and a battle, but I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to sacrifice so that my children can receive an education, even if it's to take a medical leave that I didn't necessarily have to have, and only to lower my income to try to get him into school.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. We had one more virtual comment, I believe, Ms. Cunningham.
Our last comment is from Valerie Leonardi.
Welcome, Ms. Leonardi.
Hi, thank you for hearing me. And I'd like to thank Dr. Flores for her comments, as well as Dr. Shirley Jean. I'm going to take my breath. That was extremely touching. To whom it may concern, my name is Anthony Leonardi, PhD, and I am a T-cell immunologist educated at Johns Hopkins, 9-12, and did my PhD at the National Cancer Institute on T-cell function, dysfunction, and immunity. In March, I guaranteed more Omicron spread and cited BA2 and BA3, which are now behind rising cases in California. A recent study showed immunity after infection with Omicron was not durable against reinfection with other Omicron variants based on antibody levels. This is due to the extreme level of diversity and evolution Omicron has been undergoing. Omicron has already evolved into 3 quite distinct variations, BA1, 2, and BA3, that are highly distinct from each other, meaning reinfection is facilitated. My advice is to continue a bona fide remote option for students and teachers due to the risk of airborne transmission in buildings. We have the infrastructure and prevalence is rising. It is clear that infections are not going to build immunity to prevent reinfections. In a recent massive study, 2/3 of infections by Omicron were reinfections in the recent wave. Also, Alzheimer's-like brain changes were seen in people after infection with SARS-CoV-2. In my opinion, kids who were infected with Omicron will easily be reinfected by another Omicron. Omicron's new version is spreading most quickly among children in Denmark. BA2 has also reacquired more pathogenic features of COVID seen in Delta that were not in BA1, the original Omicron. Our old vaccines won't work as well with Omicron. This is why they are making new ones. I advise remote learning. In cases where this will not occur, there must be masking and air filtration with Corsi Rosenthal boxes and ventilation at least of MERV 13 standard. Teachers will need at least N95 or better respirators. Kids at least N95 as well, since N95 will be difficult to source for kids, at least surgical masks, but these do not fully protect. Cloth masks are not enough. It has not even been half a year, and we have already seen Omicron reinfections. We need to think about our infrastructure with how education is being delivered. Catching SARS-CoV-2 every 6 months is not wise, nor is this just to expect of children. It is a SARS virus, not a common cold, and has evolved to become even more severe. Sincerely, Anthony Leonardi, PhD, May 3rd, 2022. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Ms. Leonardi. All righty, I believe that's it for public comments. Okay, we'll move on to closed session 4.0, and we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you.
Hello, SBCUSD educators. I come to you from JFK Airport in New York on my way back to the West Coast. Apologize for those announcements. Want to thank you for the hard work, the dedication, the love that you've shown our scholars this school year. What a year it's been. Here we thought coming out of distance learning would make things just a little easier. And we were quickly reminded that life will never be exactly the same as it was. So we learn from that and we grow from that. And I have just been incredibly impressed with everything you have been doing this year, last year, and I know what you will continue to do. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you greatly. Thank you for doing and being the best for our children. They need you, they deserve it, they are our future, and you are making it happen. So with great love and appreciation, happy Teachers Appreciation Day.
Teacher Appreciation Week 2022, SBCUSD Teacher Heroes. I want to take a moment to explain that just a little bit. As we think about heroes, one definition is a person that is distinguished with courage and the ability to do great things and is one of noble qualities. And many times when we think about heroes, we think about those that we've seen in action movies or in fictional stories, right? But I want to invite us right now to consider the everyday heroics of our SBCUSD teachers who, number one, heal broken hearts, uplift our most vulnerable scholars, give our parents and community hope, pour life and love into thousands of students on a daily basis, and persevere and overcome all sorts of difficulty to make others successful. And then above all that, they actually care. Teacher heroes like Miss Sturlockson, Mr. Brocky, Miss Maciel, Miss Amberson, Mr. Nopolis, Miss Turner, and others. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. You are heroes to us. You are heroes to our community. Have a great week.
Good morning to everybody. I just wanted to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for all the work that you've done, not only this past year, but always, but especially this past year in this pandemic. I know it's been particularly challenging, but you, our heroes, have stepped up to the plate and in so many ways that I can't even express. So I'm just full of gratitude, and I know the rest of the cabinet joins me in thanking you. Have a fantastic Teacher Appreciation Week. It is very well deserved. Thank you for all you do for our kids and our families. We know that it shows that you care and that you love our community, and we are very thankful for you. So we will continue to support you and do what we need to do to be there for you. Again, have a great Teacher Appreciation Week. It is very well deserved, and I'm honored to be able to say these few words to thank you for everything that you've done. You truly are our partners, and let us know how we can help you. Thank you.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. It is such an honor to be able to share a few words few words of gratitude for every single teacher and educator across SBCUSD. Thank you for what you do each day. Thank you for bringing in your hearts and sharing your passion with our kids. They are so, so deserving of strong instructional, classroom-based leadership, and we, again, are so thankful. We can all remember a teacher that has made the difference for us. And it doesn't matter how many years we've been in this field, there will always be that one individual, that one teacher, whether that was in kinder, third, fifth, 12th, or in college. And the reality is that your work, your words are absolutely making an imprint in the minds of our kids and our scholars. And so with that, we are so grateful that your legacy will live on for years to come. And so again, thank you for everything you do. We are here for you. We're here to support you and really cheer you on every single day. Thank you, and happy Teacher Appreciation Week 2022.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I'm Ginger Ontiveros, the Chief Communications and Community Engagement Officer for the San Bernardino City Unified School District. Each year when we come together to acknowledge our teachers, I am increasingly moved by the impact that you make in the lives of our students. And this year, that feeling is stronger than ever. This year, you stared a global pandemic in the face and you said our students were more important. You found a way to show up for them every day, even when there was uncertainty for you. When we think of a hero, we often think of a person who, at risk to themselves, shows courage to help someone else. You know, they run into burning buildings and pull people out of fires. They step in front of danger to protect a stranger. They muster superhuman strength to free someone who's been trapped. Well, this year you stepped in front of a classroom to ensure that your students could learn. You wanted to ensure that they didn't fall behind, and you showed them that they're important. You care for them when they need somebody to say, I understand and I got you. And you inspired them to step above and rise above their circumstances too. Now, I've always thought the teachers were heroes, but this year, your cape is really showing. May you be showered with love this week and every week for the important work you do every day.
Hello, San Bernardino City Unified School District. This is Sam Precy, Administrator of Operations, and I'd like to wish all the wonderful teachers out there a fantastic Teachers Appreciation Week. You all have an awesome responsibility and privilege to help develop and prepare our children to have the best possible future. You're all superheroes, and thank you for all that you do.
Hi, my name is Sandra Rodriguez, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services. On behalf of the entire division, I'd like to wish all of you a happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I'd like to read this poem, Because of You, written by Heather Price, because I really believe it touches everything that you're about. Because of you, a child will feel loved. Because of you, a child will believe that they can reach the stars above. Because of you, a child will find laughter and smiles. Because of you, a child will feel worthwhile. Because of you, a child will learn to love and not fight. Because of you, a child will want to read every night. Because of you, a child will learn patience when someone is driving them crazy. Because of you, a child will learn the value of work and not be lazy. Because of you, a child will learn persistence when things are going rough. Because of you, a child will learn the gift of kind words and love is enough. Because of you, a child will find comfort in loving arms. Because of you, a child will be safe from words and hands that harm. Because of you, a child will learn as they play. Because of you, a child makes a difference along the way. Because of you, a child's life will forever be touched in ways you may never see. Because you help them to become the person they want to be. Thank you so very much for everything that you do. You make a difference each and every day. On behalf of Student Services, thank you. Have a great week.
Greetings to all of our extraordinary SBCUSD educators. I'm Harold Sullins. I'm the Associate Superintendent for Business, Facilities, and Operations. You know, the past couple of years have been unlike any that we have ever seen. Our lives, as well as the lives of our students and families, have been interrupted in a most unexpected way. In spite of all of this, there has been one constant: our amazing and dedicated educators who have continued to answer the call when our students needed you most. That's right, I'm talking to you. Thank you for your flexibility, resourcefulness, creativity, and kindness. We are always grateful for the work that you do, but at this particular moment in time, we're even more appreciative for your work and your caring for our students. Once again, I'd like to thank all of our wonderful educators for all you do on behalf of our students, community, and districts. Thank you and enjoy your week.
All righty. All righty. Welcome back. We'll go ahead and report out on closed session items. We'll move on to 5.1, which is approval of elementary principal, Anton Elementary School. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approved the appointment of the following employee: Melanie McGrath, elementary school principal, Anton, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding source 035.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. Is Ms. McGrath here this evening? It showed that you did.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Oh. Okay.
All right, is Ms. McGrath present? She is not. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to 5.2, approval of a high school vice principal, Sierra High School. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approved the appointment of the following employee: Candace Van Lewin, I hope, high school vice principal, Sierra, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding source 035.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. Is Candace here this evening? I'd ask her to help me with her last name too, but congratulations, Candace. All right, approval of assistant director, secondary education. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approved the appointment of the following employee. Wow. All right, Agnes Asidukome, and assistant director, secondary education, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding source 035.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, motion carries. We'll move on, and congratulations. I should have asked on that one too. Is Agnes here this evening? All righty, we'll move on to 5.4. Approval of Assistant Director, Student Wellness and Support Services. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approved the appointment of the following employees: Martina Beach Hedges, Assistant Director, Student Wellness and Support Services, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding source 063/327, 50% each.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. Is Martina here this evening? All righty, congratulations to her as well. We'll move on to 5.5, expulsion of students. Be resolved that the Board of Education accepts and adopts the recommendation and findings of the hearing panel based on a review of the panel's findings of facts and recommendations, and orders the expulsion of the following students with identification numbers as listed below in accordance with the board rules and regulations and in compliance with Education Code Section 48900.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. 5.6. Students recommended for suspension or expulsion, excluding mandatory offenses, but remanded to youth court for other means of corrections. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts and adopts the recommendation and findings of facts of positive youth development and orders the suspension of expulsion of the following students with identification numbers as listed below, in accordance with the board rules and regulations in compliance with Educational Code 48900.
Moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. We'll move on to 5.7. Students recommended for expulsion but terminated in student assertive discipline due to completion of youth court, availability of other means of corrections, and/or due process errors. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the following students were recommended for expulsion, but expulsion is deemed inappropriate based on due process errors, insufficient evidence, and/or the availability of other means of corrections in compliance with the Education Code Section 48900. Therefore, although they are recommended for expulsion, expulsion is not granted.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. All right, motion carries. 5.8, other closed session action. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 21-22-12-ER.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to 6.0, reports by union organization. 6.1, San Bernardino Teachers Association. All righty, we do have a comment tonight, a report. Excuse me.
Can you hear me, Dr. Wyatt?
Yes, we can. Good evening. Welcome. Can't see you, but I can hear you.
Good evening, President Wyatt, Vice President Tillman, Superintendent Irvin, and Cabinet. In honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, and with today being National Teacher Day, I want to express our sincere thanks to all of our members. We've had a tough couple of years, but through it all, you've continued to stand the test of time. You're strong and resilient, and your talent and professionalism is unmatched. Most importantly, our teachers continue to be there for our students and their families through their passion for teaching and their tireless dedication, their commitment, and their compassion for meeting their students' and families' needs. And for all of these reasons and more, they are most deserving of all of our appreciation during this year's Teacher Appreciation Week. I am proud to serve alongside all of our members and represent them as their president. And I want to sincerely thank all of them for everything they do each and every day to support our students from pre-K to adult ed. You are an integral part of the fabric of our district, and I hope that everyone has a successful end to this school year. Have a good evening.
Thank you, President Alcala. We'll appreciate that. And happy Teachers Day to all our teachers. All right, we'll move on to 6.2, California School Employees Association. No report. 6.3, Communication Workers of America. No report. 6.4, San Bernardino Police Officers Association. No report. We will move on to 7.0, reports and presentations. 7.1, Extended Learning Opportunity, ELO grant update.
So Board President, rest of the board, we are excited to be able to present today our Expanded Learning Opportunities Program so that the board is aware of the amount of money that is coming to the district, as well as some of the intricacies that are involved with the funding. I'd like to introduce our Director of CAPS, Ann Pearson, who will be moving forward with tonight's presentation. Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Pearson.
Thank you. So good evening, Board President, Dr. Wyatt, Vice President, Mr. Tillman, board members, Superintendent Irving, and Cabinet, and audience members. Tonight, like Dr. Rodriguez mentioned, we're going to be presenting you with an overview of some really exciting, what we like to say, dream-making money that we're getting from Expanded Learning Opportunity Program. And we're also going to talk about some of the requirements to it as well. Next slide. I think I have the clicker, but okay. So the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program funding, this provides for after school, before school and summer school enrichment, beginning with TK through 6th grade. And this was from our Education Code, EC Section 46120. So it was actually established at the beginning of this year, 21-22, but we actually got the program plan that was required template in December, and I believe the funding was released in December too. I'm looking to Mr. Sullins to give me the yes or the no on that one. So 55% of the apportionment was released late November. So we actually really started to plan with this December on. The exciting thing is for 21-22 school year, San Bernardino received $27.8 million for expanded learning. This is in addition to our ACES funding that we already receive and our 21st century funding, as well as our asset funding for our high school. It is projected to increase to $59 million starting in the 22-23 school year being fully funded. So we'll know more, and the governors may revise if he fully funds it. Currently, why it will go up is because currently it is not fully funded, but if it goes up to $2,500 per pupil, that's when we'll see the big jump. This is guaranteed funding for 3 years for districts with a greater than 80% unduplicated pupil percentage. And when people say, what does ongoing mean? Really, the definition that's come from the state at my meetings is ongoing is being defined until the state stops it. So while they say 3 years, really ongoing could be 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, just like our ACES funding is ongoing. It really is just conforming to the same rules and regulations as our after-school education and safety program requirements based on our 12 quality learning standards. The only one missing in this program plan that we have for ELOP is sustainability quality standard number 12, and that was because when it was originally funded, they didn't know if it was going to be ongoing, and now they do know that. Little bit of a change starting in the 22-23 school year. Currently, we have a 20-to-1 student ratio in the after-school program. Starting next year, we can have TK come on board, and the change is to TK and kindergarten, where it will be 10-to-1 student ratio. You can have 20 kiddos in the same classroom, but then you would need 2 adults. But that is what the ratio would be. This is really exciting. We've been working with Ed Services. I've specifically been working a lot with Amy Coker, our Director of Elementary Instruction, because we can offer, sometimes parents won't sign up for TK or K because it's half day. And if you're working, you know, it's kind of hard to leave to take your kiddo to school at 12 or pick them up at 12, right? So now, as part of this program requirement, we have to offer it to all students. So that, I think, will really help our parents that want their kids in TK or that really struggle with what they do with their kindergartners when they're only in there for half day. So I think this is a huge help to our community and to our kids because they can have a longer school day. So it also calls for at least 30 additional days of 9 hours expanded learning days during school breaks. When we talk about this, what we talk about is that basically the expanded learning program, CAPS and Sunrise, is going to be year-round now. And
As a mom of three, one is still in school. She's at Cajon. My other boys are much older than her and out. I remember CAPS was a lifeline for me when my kids were in the schools in San Bernardino. And when we had break time, they didn't always align with what I was doing, right, with my job. So it would have been super helpful to have this offered on those breaks, because especially for our parents, if they need to find a grandma, grandpa, if they don't have a village to help with those kids when they have to go to work, we want to make sure there's still a safe place for them. So I think this is really important that we offer those additional days, and we really are offering that year-round. During the regular school days, the requirement is that we have 9 hours. That does include our instructional time. So we are going to be offering sunrise at every elementary school in the district, and after school at every elementary school in the district. Again, this has to do with our funding. So the requirement is a little different than ACES and 21st Century and Asset. That's based on ADA of 85%. We want to make sure the kids are there every day, most of the time in our after school. With the expanded learning opportunity program funding, their requirement is that it is offered to everyone that needs it. So that audit will be not based on if they're there every day. It will be based on, did everybody that wants either before or after school, is it offered to them and can they take advantage of it? This year, it is initially for grades TK through 6 for 21-22. If everything is fully funded, then they say it can go to secondary starting in 22-23. The only secondary that is included this year is the middle schools where they have a 6th grade, because it is TK through 6, so that does count. This is also, for some districts, not ours, but some districts, this is the only funding they've had. They haven't qualified for ACES or they haven't applied for the 21st Century grant. So when they say it has to be fully funded until you go to secondary, for some districts that will be tough to do. But for us, we have, we're very fortunate to have ACES and 21st Century, so we have a lot of funding. So we can very easily expand it in 22-23 to our middle schools and high schools. And that's what the final comment on that is that we can offer it to secondary schools in 22-23. So this is really, as they describe it, a dream-making program. This is what is your dream expanded learning program? This money is going to make it possible, and a lot of exciting opportunities coming up. So we've already taken advantage of some of the expanded learning. We did what we called Splash into Spring Break. This spring break, we were not able to offer it at all the schools, but the phone calls we received from our parents in our community about, I was going to have to, leave my kiddos with my mom and dad and they're out of town, or I was going to leave them at home because I had, nowhere for them to go for 2 weeks. We got those phone calls in, and even though we couldn't offer it everywhere where we offered it, they loved it. So part of our journey so far is not only our regular program, but we're also going to include some of what we did for Splash into Spring Break. Thank you, David. That was put together by one of my fabulous, well, all of my fabulous program specialists, and the Teen Music Workshop also helped us out on that. That is one of the other things we sponsor after school. That is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much.
All righty, thank you. It looks like we have quite a few questions. We'll start with Vice President, Mr. Tillman.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a few questions. So when you say TK, what age and what birth date are the cutoffs? That's the question I get all the time.
So that's changing. I'm not the TK expert, but the TK is moving 2 months every year as part of the UTK. So I believe it's till February, September. It's moved from December 2nd to February 2nd. Then the following year, I think it moves 2 more months to April 2nd, and then the following year it will go to June. So then it will be open to all 4-year-olds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But I'm still not clear on the age. Is it 4 years old? Is it
It's
3 years old?
4. So it's those kiddos that, so like I'm a November birthday, right? So I didn't turn 5. So if I would have been with the new law, then I wouldn't have been able to start kindergarten when I did. I would have been able to go to TK. So before it was only between September to December, the birthdays. Now it's going to be so that within 3 years that all 4-year-olds will be able to go instead of just the ones that turn 5 in those months.
If you're 4-year-old, in what month can you go to TK? In August.
So currently, under the law, it is as of December 2nd, if you turn 5, you can begin in this school year. You can always continue.
You can begin kindergarten.
You can begin TK. So then it will expand.
And TK, just so I'm clear, TK is the grade before kindergarten?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. So you could start in August as long as you turn 4 by.
It's turning 5. So you have to be 5 right now. You have to turn 5 before September 2nd to start kindergarten, and correct me if I'm wrong. And if you are not, you were stuck like I can't start kindergarten, I have to do preschool again. So they developed TK for those kiddos that, because it used to be December 2nd, so they moved it to September 2nd. So for the kids that fell in that window, they could go to TK, so they would be enrolled. They wouldn't be able to be enrolled in kinder, but they could be enrolled in TK, so they'd be in school. But it was just for that window. So then if your birthday fell December 3rd, you couldn't go to TK and you couldn't go to kindergarten. So now they're expanding it every 2 months. So then if you turn 5 in 3 years, if you turn 5 in June, you'll still be able to do TK for the whole year. I don't know if I'm explaining it clearly.
And I guess the weird thing to me, I have 2 daughters whose birthdays in December, and they both started kindergarten in September when they were 4.
Yeah, so this law started, so same with me. So I was a November birthday, right? So this law started 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I
So
wanna
they
say
so they limited the students who could go to kindergarten with this law.
my daughter is 15, so she just missed it. She's a September birthday, end of September. So I think that's why I'm saying it's about 10 years, because she just got in.
Gotcha.
So if it would have been another year, she would have had to go to TK, not kinder.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
It does. All right. And on this purple, where you said for 2021, 2022, San Bernardino received $27.8 million, projected to increase to $59 million. Is there a certain number of students associated with those numbers?
So the rule is if you have greater than 80% unduplicated, yes, so there is. It's based on your unduplicated pupil percentage, which I don't have in front of me right now, but that is what it's based on. So each district will have a different amount of money assigned to it. And I
then-
don't have that off the top
So-
of my head what ours is.
So, Mr. Tillman, if you're over 80% for this year, we're funded about 1,100 per unduplicated pupil. Districts who are below us are funded about 675 per unduplicated pupil. So we're almost double what other districts are receiving.
So it's 1170 this year. If it's fully funded, like they said they were going to gradually fund it each year, right? Till they got to fully funded. Fully funded, it's $2,500 per UPP, unduplicated pupil percentage. But what the governor is proposing in his May revise is he wants to give it to us all now rather than gradually increase it. So that's why it would be a big jump.
Now, I thought I heard from a parent that we have a program for 3-year-olds. That's not true?
Not in expanded learning, not in CAPS, but that would be preschool.
Preschool, that's
Do we
correct.
have preschool for 3-year-olds?
We do have preschool for 3-year-olds.
And is it income-based?
Yes, it is. At this time, it is.
And there's no talk of ending that?
It is expanding within the next couple of years to add more kids. It's part of the expanding opportunities for preschool. I kind of got a ballpark to add 72 kids that are not meeting income. It would cost about $1 million.
Are any of these programs we talked about tonight income-based?
For expanded learning, absolutely not. We don't charge fees, and it's offered to everyone.
And you talked about doing programs when school is out. Are we doing anything during the summer break? And
We're working in collaboration with Dr. Escovel, and we're doing STEAM/CAPS right after the regular summer school. So at elementary from 1 to 6, the first 2.5 hours we'll be concentrating on STEAM. And then at the middle school from 12:30 to 6 is when we'll run CAPS then. And the first 2.5 hours will also be concentrating on STEAM. So my department's already working on the lesson plans. They're working with Dr. Clyde very closely as well, because he has some expertise in that area as well.
then my last question, is the district collaborating with any of our CAS providers and nonprofits to do a program outside of the summer school program?
Yes. So we have Broadway Now is one of our vendors that is where the parents are going to be taking them. They're already a vendor right now, and they're doing what they want to do is more of a specialized program for that month, where it's running in the afternoons, kind of later in the afternoons. We have several things in the works, right? So I have dreams too. So it's not just for the principals to dream. I have some dreams too, and one of them we're working with YMCA currently to. If you saw one of the slides had the lifeguard training. We're training our own kids free of charge. It's a pretty pricey certificate to get. It's over $200. We're training our kids to be lifeguards and swim instructors so that we can offer free swim lessons to students in San Bernardino, and even the littles that aren't in school yet. That is one of our dreams. We're working with YMCA for that, free of charge.
So, Mr. Tillman,
we don't have dates and times.
So we have June is good to go. July is still being developed.
What are we doing in June?
June, we have summer school, and then we've expanded CAPS to 6 o'clock. So it's going to be operating the full month of June, so kids have the opportunity to be in regular summer school and continue to be in CAPS until 6 o'clock, because our summer school programs might end at noon, but we will have kids all the way till 6.
The question is, so you're saying we don't have anything for July, but
They're
might.
working on it, yes.
That'd be great, because I get that question from parents all the time.
Right.
For what you just said.
Yeah.
No matter what time of the year it is, parents have a hard time providing childcare for their students.
The idea is that because of these at least 30 additional days, we are planning to run it year round. So whenever there are breaks, or like spring break, we have 2 weeks off, we're going to run it. When we have Thanksgiving break for those 3 days, we'll run it. So that way it's an opportunity for
And we
kids to
think
be
we'll
supervised.
have the capacity to take any parent and student, any student that the parent wants to attend?
If there are students in the school district, yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tillman, I do have clarification on the TK question.
Yes.
So TK is for 4-year-olds that will turn 5 between September and December this year, as Ms. Pearson stated. Every year that date is pushed out further to include more 4-year-olds. So next year, February 2nd will be the cutoff. The following year, April 2nd. The goal is by 25, 26, we take all 4-year-olds.
Thank you very much. That helped a lot.
Thank you, Vice President Tillman. I believe who was next on the list? Was it Ms. Rosales Medina, and then Dr. Flores, and then
Dr. Rogers.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you for the presentation. That was really helpful. I'm glad to see that we're moving to provide Sunrise as well for all of our schools. I know that many years back, we had very limited schools that provided these opportunities. I wanted to ask really quickly, what year will that start? Is that for the next school year, or when will that start?
For Sunrise?
Yes, the Sunrise.
Yes, so the plan is to have Sunrise at every school starting this upcoming school year, 22-23, elementary. We
Okay.
originally had thought middle and high school because if we were going to late start, but now late start has been delayed a year. So we are also planning on doing Sunrise at the middle and high schools the following year because
Okay.
there will be a need. We think there will be a need. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to drop my daughter off and have her wait there 2 hours, right? I'd rather her go to CAPS when we have the late start.
Okay, that
So
makes
this year,
sense.
elementary, the following year, when we do late start, it'll be offered at the secondary.
Okay. And then I just wanted to piggyback with Mr. Tillman mentioned the preschool program, only because we did have the parent come over. And if you could just clarify really quickly, it's going to convert into a universal program by which year? So that way, is that also included or not? I don't know if that would be.
No, just TK. So, I mean, at least for the expanded learning opportunity program, it's TK up. It doesn't include preschool, it's TK.
We're state funded, so with our preschool programs, and so there are income guidelines that come from the state. If we choose to add or waive those fees to take care of 72 additional students that are not covered under the state, the approximated cost would be $920,000. Now, we do know that there is discussions about a universal preschool. We're still waiting for additional information on that so that we can look to see how that might be implemented.
Okay. And I think even with that amount, honestly, it's still a benefit only because they're going to end up coming to our schools eventually and they'll be better off prepared. And we definitely don't want to have a situation where you have one child and then not the other child. So, but thank you for that update and thank you again for your update.
Thank you, Ms. Medina, Dr. Flores, and Dr. Daddy Rogers.
Ms. Medina, I think you made a really good point about providing those services because it's an investment. Right. And if we have the money, and then plus the governor's revise, we'll know soon if we have universal, preschool, and that would be really, really important. So I just wanted to thank you, Ms. Pearson, because this is really exciting news because we have wanted, CAPS, Sunrise CAPS, and afternoon CAPS at all our schools. So just to clarify, it's going to be at all the schools.
All the schools.
All the schools. Wow.
So I do want to clarify that our plan is to have it at all schools. But to be honest with you, it all depends on staffing. So we need to be able to have the staff in order to be able to run them. But it is our plan to have it. We do have funding to have it. It's all dependent on staffing.
Can we hire our former students that are going to community college and Cal State? I mean, that would be ideal. If
We
could-
actually do have some former students that work for our contractors. We have
Uh-huh.
various contractors that we contract with for the services.
Yeah.
And they do say, I was a CAPS kid, that's why I'm working in the program.
Oh,
So
yeah. I think we should be reaching out aggressively to them so that they can, come back home and be part of, they get funding, they get money, they make money, but also are helping our kids. I think that would be really, really lucrative. And did I hear correctly in 22, 23, it states here that we will have CAPS at all our high schools?
yes, we will now have funding for it. Before, it was only funded by asset. And there's a threshold limit for free and reduced lunch numbers, which determined how many high schools got it.
I've heard from the kids, this was before COVID, that they wanted a place where they could do things like, play chess, have pool tables, have, things that they could, engage in and so forth. So I don't know if we're looking at that to have those types of also, academic things, but also things that they can grow. I know that my dad bought us a pool table, and that helped me in geometry. It was very helpful. And I was a girl, so, and I played my brother and my cousins, the male cousins, but I loved it. And will it be in our middle schools too?
So CAPS is in all of our middle schools right now.
Oh, it
So
is.
it's
Okay.
just the high schools that we currently have 4, and we'll expand it. And after there are a few high schools that have the dedicated rooms that are just for CAPS, and there are some pool tables in there. When
Oh,
we were
are there?
visiting,
Oh, great.
San Bernardino High School has a
Yeah.
great room. It has all sorts of fun. I was like, I want to stay here. They had pool
Yeah.
tables, they had ping pong, they had all sorts of really
Oh,
cool
that's
stuff.
great. Okay, great. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, and we're going to start doing stuff with the arts, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's part of our STEAM initiative, the A in STEAM, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Forrest. Dr. Daddy Rogers.
Thank you. Most of my questions have been asked. I will say kudos and thank you for this presentation, because CAPS is definitely, and Sunrise, a lifeline, a lifesaver for all parents. I definitely needed it. But my main concern was about the summer, because a lot of questions are being asked by parents. What are we going to do for the summer? I didn't quite hear how many days. I know we heard is June, but what's the goal? To go all the way to July and August, or what's the goal?
So we're finishing up this school year, the calendar year in June 30. And so we were running summer school, and the summer school program will run till 12. CAPS will pick up till 6. We are planning to have programming in July. So RFPs have already gone through the process. So we're looking at the approvals of that. And then our goal is to have it go in June board meeting to approve vendors for July.
And if I just wanted to add a little bit. One of the things we're doing to improve the expanded learning, right? Because I was a principal at Belvedere, and I had a great program, in my opinion. But just to be totally transparent, some of it could be considered just babysitting and homework, and that's not what we want it to be anymore. I had a parent come up to me at the Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee and tell me about that. So one of the things we're doing in July is having a week-long CAPS symposium where we're training all of our youth leads, site leads, and having our CBOs come out as well. So they're highly trained during that week. We have extra planning time. That's the 3rd week in July. And then that last week in July, when the teachers have prep days and PD, they're going to be on campus that whole week too. So for 2 weeks in July, we're doing training, and then we're having them on campus to interact with the administration, the teachers, that sort of stuff. So we do have a few weeks in July left to try to provide for our students, but we really feel like we need at least a solid week training to get them where we want them to be. So we're doing lesson plans for them, so training them in the lesson plans we're going to provide for them now, all of that. So just so you know, there are a few weeks of training and setup.
And how will you promote, or are you promoting this now? And where could we refer parents to find out?
So right now, I know that there's summer school is being promoted on the website. CAPS is attached to the summer school registration. So that's for June. For July, we're still pinning down some programs, but as of May 16th, I believe yesterday on Parent Square, the Save the Date flyer went out for registration to encourage parents for that. And then we will be sending out another Parent Square. We're giving out flyers to our school sites as well as our CAP site leads to pass out with a link for registration. So we're already advertising for next year, as well as I believe we also have that on the website as well. So May 16th is coming out. I know that Ms. Coker and I have already talked about really advertising to our TK and kinder parents, especially our TK that we want to enroll, because it's difficult if they're only there for half days. So we're really hoping that by promoting CAPS, that we get more into our TK program as well and get them in early so that.
And then lastly, you had mentioned, I saw labs or something like that in the videos. Are those labs in alignment when we've been talking about STEAM academies, labs type things? Is that some of the work that we are currently doing or we're doing with Garner Holt? Where does that fall into this work?
So what you saw was our youth leads and our site leads asking to do these things. Hunt in particular has one of their youth leaders that does a great job with the robotics. And so that's where some of those pictures were from. But it's our youth leads and site leads that have that passion themselves, and they're providing those opportunities. Now for summer school, we've already ordered hummingbird kits. We've got Robotify program that we're looking at. Lego, these advanced Legos, people sometimes are like Legos, but it's a great engineering opportunity. And some of them are so complicated, I don't even know how they're putting them together. So we have a lot of hands-on interactive things started in June. But a lot of what you saw was just the fantastic people that we have in the after-school program promoting that for the kids.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I forgot to mention, sorry, the A in STEAM, VAPA, we're working with Scott Nelson, the VAPA coordinator. He is super excited, and he's going to offer music pullout during the STEAM CAPS portion during summer school. So they're going to offer that to the students that are currently in music so that they can continue the little pullout. So forgot to mention that.
Thank you, Dr. Dowdy Rogers. Ms. Ceballos?
Thank you so much for the presentation. Just a couple questions. One of the questions that I have is in regards to the actual staff. I know that you mentioned that there, would be training for them, and Dr. Flores had mentioned, recruiting maybe college, students and things like that. I really want to emphasize, that's a great idea. It provides job opportunities for a lot of our, community students that, came from our schools, but also making sure that we do provide them with the support that they need when they are in those roles. Because I have, spoken with several different youth that are in those roles, right, in CAPS. And a lot of times we have high needs population, right? A lot of times we have, behavior concerns that come about, and they're not teachers, right? A lot of times they're students. So they really need the support to know how to handle situations as they come, because oftentimes they're employed by third-party, agencies, and they don't know who their direct supervisor is. Is it the school principal? Is it yourself?
Right.
Is it my company, that hired me? Who do I report to? And, so making sure that those channels are very laid out, very specifically for them, so that they're not left struggling and then end up quitting, because that has happened as well, because it's too much. So that is one of the comments. And then the other question that I have really revolves around, what is the purpose of summer school?
For the CAPS portion of summer school?
Sure.
Let me answer that question. So as we're looking at summer school, we're looking at helping students who are in high school to remediate their credits. In elementary school, we're looking to remediate skills, make sure that they continue to grow and learn so that they're prepared to meet grade level standards the following school year, and to reduce the gap in time that students are out, not exposed to educational environments.
So like I thought, I just wanted to get it out there. So I guess, and maybe this is outside of CAPS, but maybe it's not, who knows? So maybe you can help in answering that. When it comes to recruitment of students, right, for the summer program, how are we going about that if the purpose is to remediate and the purpose is to, level them up in the skill, whether it's in the elementary level or high school level? Because last year, some of the concerns that I had coming in was, making sure that we didn't just promote it and put flyers out there and said, hey, we're going to have this, come if you want. Usually the students that really need it, they weren't coming, right? So how are we kind of making sure that that's not what's happening this year around, that we are targeting students that need it?
So we are this year, and our site leaders have data that show their students who have really had some challenges and need to accelerate their learning. And so we are actively going after those students, inviting them. Of course, we're letting, everybody come, but we know that the focus on the morning has been on remediation for reading and for math. And then in the afternoon, whoever wants to come has the opportunity to come and participate in the STEAM offerings that we're doing in the afternoon. But we do have targeted data that have identified certain students that we are inviting.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Thank you, Ms. Ceballos. Ms. Rosales Medina.
Okay, and it's just really quick. I know we're talking about after-school hiring through third party, because that's what I consider the third parties that would be hiring. I actually would be more interested that our district hire within. The only reason why is because then and then I guess it would be a future report. These third entities, how much are they paying the employees? Is it a lot less than what maybe our district would be paying? So I do want to make sure that if we're doing this, let's do it right, and let's make sure that we're hiring within the school district too.
Thank you. We'll put that under consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales Medina. Any other questions or comments? All righty, and I just want to say thank you for the presentation. When you're last, usually most questions are already asked, and I'm just super excited to see, the outcomes for our students. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity for them, very diverse opportunities, which reaches all the different interests of our students and needs. So super excited about it. And I'll say this, I'm quite sure we will need to go outside of our organization, though, to have capacity to deliver such programs, because it'd be nice if we had enough staff here to do it already, and if we did, we'd probably be doing it on our own, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to 8.0, reports and comments. 8.1, superintendent and staff. Mr. Urban.
President Wyatt. First of all, I want to say good evening, President Wyatt and members of the board and obviously our educational community. And so what I want to talk about today is, as we really approach the end of the school year, I've been taking some time lately to begin reflecting on our journey together as an educational community and what does the path forward look like. And as we all know, that this has been really a very, unprecedented time in public education. And so I want to start off and talk about, as I sat down and thought about this, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I think I'm proud of that we've accomplished so far this year. And a couple of things. One, I think we all know the district did a really good job of reopening schools for in-person learning while navigating an ongoing pandemic. That, I think they've done very well. That was unprecedented. Secondly, as we all know, we engaged hundreds of our stakeholders, working with Dr. Rogers at the time and Ginger Ontiveros and the rest of the team of stakeholders. We engaged hundreds of stakeholders during our listening learning tour, probably more than that. But that provided valuable input in terms of shining a light on the district's most urgent issues. Obviously, some things the district was doing well, but at the same time, some of those urgent issues that was out there, that was the purpose of that listening and learning tour. And as part of some of that, we really, a couple other things we did was establish, obviously, the Equity, Access, and Innovation Division, because I knew that was important to ensure that all students have the support and opportunity that they need to be successful. And as we know, equity, access, and innovation is really critical. And then, as part of that, we successfully digitized and standardized the 4-year plans, because a lot of you really know that I really wanted to enhance our college readiness for high school students district-wide. Because as we know, putting every student on an A through G pathway is very critical. And so we also engaged our parents at every school and to improve communication. And again, we did this through the new Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee. I think that all of our meetings were well attended by one parent from every site. In some cases, 2 parents showed up. So it was, and even this room, we had our first meeting with our Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee, and this room was completely packed. And then the other thing, working with our Ed Services Department, we launched a pilot program for learning labs, because I've talked about you got to have a learning lab at every school, because And we did that as a model because we wanted to scale it district-wide because, again, we needed to support academic success, not only in literacy, but in math, especially during that universal access time when kids, as we know, during the pandemic, our kids had learning loss, but we wanted to get in front of that. So we started piloting, and I believe right now we have about 16, maybe, 2 in each cluster. And so that was very critical because, again, the data clearly showed that. And then I think, among other things, there's a lot of things that we did, right? But the other thing is we successfully launched a teacher-led effort to align our curriculum, instruction, and assessment systems. And then because what we wanted to do with that was provide this uniformity, continuity, and consistency to support learning at all of the schools, but most importantly for all students. You got to have that consistency so we're able to identify where students are struggling. And so I think we all know it's been a very challenging year, right? Even the last couple of years have been challenging. And I think, personally, I think we've made some really impressive steps forward as we think about the thoughts on framework for excellence, as we thought about the service delivery model. Those are the things that we were thinking about. And I think the team, including all of our stakeholders, when I say the team, all stakeholders, I think we should be proud of the progress toward, implementing strong, curricular, instructional, operational, social, emotional, and then also wellness systems, because those are critical. All those components together combined can really take a district to the next level. And then I hope the educational community, was encouraged by our work, because I think this year, because I think we really, and everyone who knows me knows, I really always want to focus on accelerating student performance. What I said day one, when I started my career 30 years ago, I said here today. I've never changed what I said. Always accelerate student performance, give every kid what they need. Now, we wanted to do this, and what we've done so far this year was because the data was our call to action. David, can you show that data? Where's David? And if you look at that data, the data was our call to action. When you see the data, and you can go through the slides, David, the data perception is reality. That is our reality. The data is the data. Anyone who disagrees with that, I mean, that's fine. You do your thing. But this data is the reason why the SBC USD community needs to continually, this whole educational community has to come together for our kids, because that's one of the main reasons why I came here to the district, right? Because I saw a need, and this is what I do, right? I try to take it to the next level. Although I know Ginger says you move a mile a minute, you're moving faster than a locomotive. Absolutely, because kids can't wait, right? We've had conversations. Kids can't wait. And so, but it shows a sense of urgency, but we know that we need support for our kids to be successful. And I believe that every child deserves a shot to be successful. We all believe that in this room. There's no one in this room who doesn't believe that. And we also believe that every school, and I know contrary to popular belief, ladies and gentlemen, I still believe that every school can be a great school, can be a good school. And I also truly believe that every child can be successful. Now, I know at times throughout my 30-year career, people didn't agree with me on that, but I'll say that till my last day, on earth, that every school can be a good school and every kid can be successful regardless. And we all believe that. We all have seen it. And so with that said, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about, my future, I guess, and what are the next steps and what's best for the district. And so really after careful thought and consideration, and really after close to 30 years of public service, I've decided to retire, from the San Bernardino City Unified School District effective July 1. Is it tough? Yeah, of course it's a tough decision. But I made this decision, one, after talking to my family, my kids, and my wife. You want to have those conversations when you make big decisions, but also my health, because I want to go into the future still being healthy. And then also really, and I know people are not going to agree with this or understand this, but in the best interest of kids who attend our schools, right? I always think about, this is all bigger than me. Everything that we do is bigger than me. It's about kids. And I know that my presence sometimes can impact that. And I don't want that. I don't want my presence to impact that and then the work we do for kids. So, and I really came here to the district hoping to accomplish a few things in the last, rodeo part of my career. specifically really to take the district to the next level of student achievement, because I still believe that the district got a lot of great things happening, and I truly believe that. However, we all know that sometimes, and I think publicly people need to understand that sometimes in educational institution, but in any organization, educational philosophy or the philosophy is not aligned, and when they're not aligned, it gets in the way of progress, and that's okay. That's just the reality of the world we live in, and I'm okay with that. But I do believe that the future of the district would be better served by, a superintendent who aligns more closely with not only the board's leadership style, but also the educational philosophy, because that's in the best interest of kids and for the students we serve. And I believe that they will be able to get someone and the district can find someone that, as they move forward, that will help them move forward and continue the work that they've already done, because there's been a lot of good work done. And I personally will do all I can to support, right, the district moving forward, and make sure there's a smooth transition, right? Because that's my role as a leader up until the last day, which is July 1, right? Because I'm still here to July 1. Don't make no qualms about that. But as I prepare to transition, I want to say this, though, that I want to remind you that, and all of us, that our actions, attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs must always and should always reflect our commitment to doing what's best for kids. And I want to say that again. And I know people say that that's a cliche. No, it's not, because anyone who knows me knows I walk that talk. That our actions, attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs should always reflect our commitment in making decisions good for kids. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you don't do that, silence is acceptance. And I'll open up for any thoughts from any board members on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Urban. We'll start with board comments to my left with Vice President Danny Tillman.
Thank you very much, President Wyatt. I went out to San Andreas to see their, I don't know, what do they call what is it?
Growing Hope.
Growing Hope, but they have an amazing system out there, and I just hope we can expand it and allow other students from other high schools to also get involved. Went out to the drumline competition at San Antonio High School. It was amazing what they're doing there. I didn't know they were doing the steel drums. And that was great to see. And then Cajon High School, congratulations to their track team. Just a few years ago, they couldn't hold track meets at Cajon because they didn't have a valid track, and we invested in that, and we've gotten great results. And then in terms of the virtual academy, I got some calls from teachers who thought that they may have to come back to the site. And I don't know how we're going to move forward with it, but I would like, if we have to, President Wyatt, that we, if there needs to be a discussion about allowing the virtual academy teachers to continue working remotely, that maybe we have a discussion if policy is needed to ensure that the virtual part is done. I really think we've built a great virtual academy, and I just want to see it continue and expand. And I think the thrust of it was, and I thought it was a win-win. You had teachers who had concern about being on site, and you had students concerned about being on site, and therefore we created this virtual academy. It not only solved and was able to reduce some of the fears that staff had and parents and students, but it was a good match. And I've heard of some different variants coming out where COVID itself has not gone away. So I just hope that we can continue with the virtual academy, allowing the teachers that are doing it successfully to continue to do it working remotely, not having to come to a site. So if we have to, I don't know, maybe that's the direction that Dr. Francis, that the staff is going to continue going.
Yeah.
If not, if we need to talk about it, though, then do it, knowing that we need to have the discussion before the next school year.
I would defer to Dr. Funches, because I imagine that's a CBA issue as well as MOU would be in place. I don't think at this time would be a board decision.
We do have a telework policy. We are working with SBTA and Ashley at this time on the new MOU for the virtual academy. So we'll update the board here soon on that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Dr. Funches, I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. What did you say?
We do have a telework policy. The board also has, a policy in place for working from home. We are working with SBTA right now on a new MOU for the virtual academy. So I'll bring it back to the board here within the coming weeks with that piece.
Thank you, Dr. Funches. Next board comment will be Ms. Ceballos.
Thank you, Board President. So I am going to address you, Mr. Irvin. I think that that's the least that you deserve. Obviously, I am not happy at this time. And I just want to, come forward and express my thoughts and my feelings about the whole situation on Mr. Irvin's retirement or early retirement. I had shared last board meeting, as well as when I first got elected and sworn into the board, that I would lead with transparency. And that's what I will do, and that's what I will continue to do, even against being advised to do otherwise, because it is in the best of the institution. And I understand that, it may be in the best interest of the institution, to come up here before you all and show a united front, and say that nothing's happening. Mr. Irvin's deciding to retire early. Well, he's not. This is a forced retirement. Make no mistake about it, okay? So when he came on board, it was a 7-0 vote. He's leaving with a 4-2 vote. Obviously, I did not vote for any of it. I voted against it. Now, I believe that he stepped on some very powerful and or influential people's toes in the district, and he is being run out of town. That is my personal belief. And whatever repercussions we have to face as a board, then we own up to them. That is accountability, ladies and gentlemen. The same type of accountability that we ask for our employees, that we ask of our students, high expectations, that applies to us as well. We are accountable to people out in the community. And I still don't understand what the conflict has been. I mean, I don't see that he's done anything wrong, right? Aside from personality differences, right? Personality differences, rubbing people the wrong way. Aren't we adults here? We don't resolve conflict. We don't talk, we don't sit down, we don't converse. We don't do any of that. However, we are allowed as public individuals, elected officials, to sit up here on this throne and disrespect our employees as they're giving us presentations, yell at them, call them out, disrespect them, and we are still here with nothing done. We are allowed to do that, my friends, because we are close to God, right? We're untouchable. That is a shame, and I am embarrassed at this time. I am embarrassed to sit up here. Now, let's see how many other of our executives leave us, right? Let's see how many others jump ship and I wouldn't blame them. But yet you want excellence in the district. How? How can we promote excellence when we have not focused? We've spent over a year on wasted energy, wasted time, and my friends, wasted resources, money, yes. So anyway, those are my comments for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ceballos. We are on to Dr. Dowdy Rogers.
Thank you. So, I'm normally not a person that speaks from notes or anything like that. But tonight, I have to speak from some notes. I have notes tonight. And I was hoping that I didn't have. But when the community informs me about actions that will take place at your governance board meeting, there is a definite need to be clear, because my job is to be one of the governance teams. Yet I was told by the community as to what was going to take place for the job that I'm supposed to do. So tonight I want to be clear that it is with extreme disappointment how 1 month shy of another year of an extremely difficult time in all of our history and education, that we have arrived at such an impasse when it comes to education. We arrive here, in my opinion and observation, is because of a refusal to work as one body towards the continued success of this district, because of personal and singular opinions that only had one resolution. Superintendent Harry Doc Irvin, while I respect your decision and your efforts to move this district forward to no avail, clearly, even tonight, we heard of some of the success that you've had, even in the midst of this storm. I'm clearly disappointed in how we arrived at this place. The vote I made for a qualified and seasoned superintendent that I would support has never wavered yet. Here we are. I am clear that impartial information and unqualified promises have continued to be disseminated in the community and in this district of which I serve. Those voices do not represent fairness or equality. I, as a member of this board, have not been given the right to represent 1/7 of this board on decisions that have been made off this dais. However, I am clear that I will continue to serve all people and not titles. I will continue to serve all people and not titles. That will never change. So in the words of Helen Keller, she said, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dowdy Rogers. Our next board comments will be Ms. Rosales Medina.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to share that ICUC Wellness Centers, they had a mental health action on April the 30th. It was well run by high school students, and they addressed Dr. Wyatt, Ms. Ceballos, as well as I was on the panel, as well as Director Colleen Williams. It was amazing information. They came up with numbers and stats on what we can do as a district. But the fact that they were able to come up with numbers that can help support and move some of our decision making in an easy way. You know, we want to make sure that our students are understanding what's the purpose of math, and that was the whole purpose of trying to really bring numbers to us. So I thought that was amazing. I also wanted to recognize Mother's Day that's coming up, May the 8th, as well as Dia de los Niños. I know we didn't have a resolution, but that was celebrated. I think several schools was also celebrated, as well as shared on social media. That was April the 30th. And Feliz Dia de los Madres, which is May the 10th, which is separate from the Mother's Day, which is typically on a Sunday, and Dia de las Madres is always on a Sunday. I mean, always on May the 10th. Yeah, May the 10th. So, and then with that, I will go ahead. Those are some of the positives. I wanted to start with the positives. I also wanted to address some of the numbers that was shared earlier in the PowerPoint. I mean, I'm really proud of our district. In the A through Gs, I mean, it just shows with the PowerPoint or that presentation that was shown earlier that how much we've gained, 20 plus points in the past 5 years, and just the A through G alone. And the high school graduation, we surpassed not only the county levels, but we surpassed the state levels in graduation for the first time in over, I would say, even with Dr. Marsden here, over 40 years. So we have made huge gains in our district for the past 8 to 10 years. And so I'm really proud to see those numbers increase as we move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales Medina. Dr. Flores?
Superintendent Irvin. I just want to be clear to everyone that you made this decision, correct? You made this decision to retire for your health, for your own well-being, and like you stated, no alignment. There was an alignment. As a board member, we serve our community. There's 7 of us, and majority rules. In a democracy, majority rules. And I just want to state that you were not forced. You made the decision on your own, and as you stated, and I appreciate all that you've done. You're a seasoned superintendent. You have great ideas. I was aligned with you on some of them. On some others, I was not. But we always have to question and raise issues. And so I just want the public to know that. Secondly, our district has moved forward together for the last, we've began after we came out of our depression, or what do we call it, recession. We began to move deliberately, and it started with our strategic planning in 2010 as we move forward, and we continue to move forward, and we hit a big bump with COVID, and our health, our lives were more important than any academic achievement, in my opinion. And so we move forward. Some of the things I want to state that happened last week, also went to the drum line at Sanji. It was incredible. The kids just have blossomed. It was packed with parents, teachers, administrators, and our Cesar Chavez Middle School, by the way, won the competition, and they got first place. I don't know what the high school did. What did the high school get, you guys? Did they get second, or do we know? I didn't get to see that. But anyway, I was very proud of them to see that. And that was a board decision a long time ago, led by Mr. Tillman, to invest in our kids. And when we invest in our kids, they rise up to the occasion. Of course, I shared the Latino history, and that was a concerted effort by parents. And, and I thank you again, Dr. Rodriguez, for being the principal at San Bernardino High that, took the initiative to do it, from scratch, from our bilingual department, our multilingual department now, and also Ms. Applegate's leadership as well, combined, Melanie McGrath, and the parents, and of course the kids. So that is very apropos, given that our district is 80% Latino. And so our kids do need to shine. All our kids need to shine. All of them. Our Black kids, our Pacific Islanders, our Asian. And we love all our kids. All of them. On Saturday, I went to the ICUC Cope Blue Just San Bernardino event at the Garcia Arts Center. It was so great to see Black and brown folk together, enjoying the day, listening to music, but also learning about programs and services that are provided. And I also thank you, Dr. Funches, for moving forward with the virtual academy, because I did get calls as well about teachers' ability to do remote teaching as well as kids. So I think that's important. And I just want to say that I love this district. I love, my daughter went here. She graduated from here and came back to be a teacher. I'm vested in this community, and I will do my best to always serve everybody and work with my colleagues and also cabinet. We have a superior cabinet. They are so dedicated. They work their little butts off. They work overtime. They're at different, Dr. Esquivel was at the drum line, after a long day of work. That's, and you're all like that. Miss Applegate was at the Latino. We stayed there till, and Dr. Funches and Dr. Rodriguez as well. We stayed there till 9:30. We closed the place down. But anyway, everybody works hard. Everybody works hard. You saw Ms. Pearson. This is not an easy task to have CAPS at every school. And you have a dream team. You probably need more people. And so, and who is it for? It's for our kids.
Dr.
It's for our
Flores, I'm sorry,
families.
but it's
I know,
time.
I went over. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Flores.
Dr. White, I just want to respond to one thing that was said.
Yes, Doc, go ahead.
So I hear you, Doc, and I appreciate the comments, Dr. Flores, but on the one statement that you said that, you made the statement that you agreed with some of the things that I did and you didn't agree with others, and I just want to respond to that. And then you asked a question about the forced retirement. I'm not going to respond to that publicly on that statement or comment there. I've said it in my statement. I made that decision to retire, so I'm not going to respond to the forced retirement, but I will respond to this, that you didn't agree on some of the things that I did. And I want to be clear that every decision that we made was made with the input from the majority of our stakeholders. I just want to get clarity there to the board and the public, and we brought everything forward. So I just want to bring clarity at the end of the listening learning tour, unless anybody agrees up here, we did bring forward the plan, which was the framework for excellence. And at that point, we did ask the board for support in moving forward with the plan, because the listening learning tour and the framework for excellence was built off the input from the entire staff and what I was hearing from the majority of the staff. And even though one board member may not have agreed, it's up to the consensus of one board, one body. They make the decision to move forward. And so I just want to be clear that even if there were some of the things that I recommended that were not recommended, I always recommended things with honor, dignity, and respect, and it also came from the majority. Everything that we presented was from what the stakeholders needed and wanted, and that's what built out the framework for excellence. Mr. Irvin, other than Doc, myself, other than trying to build out good systems and structures, my job was to guide the process. My job was not to tell for example, Dr. Greer, what to do in his department, but to provide the resources and support. Mrs. Pearson, when we talked about the service delivery model, my job was to provide her with the guidance, support, and her team and the staff and the stakeholders. And the principals gave me feedback, and I brought it here to this board. In the end, the board did not approve the framework for excellence, which is transformational in itself and could take the district to another level. So I just want to be clear that I didn't bring anything forward that was not from input from our stakeholders. And so I just want to make sure that's clear to everyone. And there might be disagreement with that, and we can hit that head on if we need to, because I'll hit it head on. But every decision that I made was based on what the stakeholders had requested and recommended, and then I obviously gave some thoughts and ideas. So I just want to be clear there. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Irvin. My turn. First of all, Doc, I just want to say thank you. I don't know if I've heard anybody say thank you yet, and for what you've done for our district up until this point. And I've heard a lot of talk about not getting things done in a wasted year, but I think you've done quite a bit in a very short period of time. Along with the executive cabinet, I've seen tremendous, I won't say growth, but a lot of planning put into place. The framework for excellence has taken quite a bit of time, and it has been delayed, but there is a rock solid plan in place. And for that, I want to say thank you for that. You've always acted with a high level of dignity, professionalism, and restraint. I know how it feels to be up here with a divided board, obviously as the board president, and trying to get things done, and we vote 3-3 often. Not saying that's how I've always chose to vote, but that's how the vote has often come out. And so I've had a high level of frustration myself trying to, move the district forward. And I've come to know you at a higher level personally, and I know you're a man of integrity. You obviously want to do what's right for students. You say that pretty much every time I talk to you, and I know you mean your word. It's very difficult to do things when we don't have a cohesive board. But one thing I have learned is to respect the opinion and decisions of my colleagues, whether I agree with it or not. Often I agree with them. Most of the time I agree with them. But there are times when we do not. And that's just one thing I have to learn to respect. Might not like it, might not like your decision either. But I respect it, and I understand why you're making that decision. You have to do what's best for you, your family, your health. But in the end, I want to say thank you to you for what you've done for our district and where you've gotten us so far, got us through, coming back from COVID. The 4-year plan, electronic plan that we've put into place for our kids to move forward for college and career has been outstanding. And there's many other things that you listed as well. But I do understand it's been a beyond challenging year for you, and that's saying it lightly, very lightly. But again, I'm going to say thank you for all that you've done, and I appreciate you. So. As for other things that has happened, I think my colleagues have probably touched on almost all of them. We talked about Happy Teacher Appreciation Day. Again, congratulations to our ACTS Administrators of the Year, Dr. Bacandova, Dr. Raimundo, Ms. Smith. We heard already about our Latino History Bee. That was an incredible event. Mr. Acosta and his team did an amazing job, and I really would like to see us take that to the next level next year. As Dr. Flores mentioned, we believe it's the only Latino History Bee possibly in the nation. So I think that's something to celebrate and expand upon. As we heard earlier about ICUC, the students over there did an amazing job hosting a forum with a lot of courage. I don't think we talked about how they came forward with a lot of their concerns and challenges with mental health. And so, Ms. Rosales Medina and Ms. Ceballos were there, as well as Ms. Colleen Williams. And what I want our students to know in our community and our families is we are definitely dedicated towards increasing our mental health services to all students, families, and staff. Matter of fact, I know that's part of the framework of excellence for 2025 is to have a wellness center at every high school. That's been planned, again, by Mr. Irvin's leadership. I would also support that we have student gardens at all of our schools. I think Ms. Ceballos was going to talk about that earlier, so I don't want to steal her thunder. She could talk about that at another board meeting. She brought us a lot of information, but I understand why she was a little bit distracted today. So we'll talk about that another time. But I think it's a great idea that she's going to be bringing forward. And then also, we've talked about it too many times about student board members. And, I know we haven't had any movement on that, and I get it. Again, it's been a very challenging year, a lot of challenges. But one thing I did experience and learn with City Council recently when I went to one of their meetings is, they were looking at having basically a student City Council member for each one of them. And I thought, why not have a student board member for each one of us? Somebody that we could have mentor and then work with, and then we could rotate them through our board meetings. So they don't have to come to every board meeting, because that is a lot of work for them. But they could still get the experience of working with the board, being up here on the board, and then being a voice, an active voice for their peers, which I think would be absolutely outstanding. So hopefully I could get support on that. If not, we could stick with 2 or 3 board members, whatever it is, student board members you'd like to move forward on. Let's see. As Mr. Vice President Tillman said, the drumline was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing job. I don't think anybody announced, though, that our middle school team, did you, Dr. Flores? Took first place, and then what was our high school team? Took second place. So our drumline team, both middle school and high school, did absolutely amazing job in the competition they were just in. And if you saw their performances, if you were lucky enough to see their performances, they're amazing. It's not just drumline, but it's also artistic creativity and like a play they put on. It's a different type of drumline. I've never seen it, but it was amazing. And then our folks, as Mr. Vice President Tillman talked about, the Grow Your Own. I don't know if you went to the school, but I went to actually the display they had out in the public, and it was absolutely amazing. They were the amount of products that they gave, that they grew to the community out there, reflected very highly on our district and our students and our staff. The feedback that we had from the community was just phenomenal. I mean, you wouldn't have known they were students being there. They looked like they were part of the restaurant, like they actually were working there. You wouldn't even know that they were students. So it was just a phenomenal job. So, a lot of great things are happening in this district. I want folks to know that. There's a lot of amazing achievement and accomplishments in this district that are happening every day and will continue to happen. And as Superintendent Irvin mentioned in his comments, this district is poised for excellence. The framework is there, the staff are there, and his leadership has made sure that we've laid that pathway, a trajectory towards becoming a district of academic excellence. We're a district of excellence in many different ways, but overall academic excellence, we will reach that too. So thank you.
Dr. Wyatt, did you mention about last night? I'm over here. Did you mention about last night? I didn't hear you.
No, I just did briefly.
Okay, you acknowledged the
the
awardees from AXA.
I did,
Okay,
and
I didn't hear you.
it was a fun event. There was a lot of us here that were there. Myself and Dr. Daddy Rogers were there for the board, and again, it was a great celebration and really good to see people again in person. I know we've heard that a lot. Gosh, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, and they had great entertainers, student entertainers there. They were the folkloria dancers and some I would call it Latin American or Mexican music that was being played, but it was a lot of fun. And I forgot to mention the headdress ball. I don't think anybody mentioned the headdress ball. Dr. Rodriguez, thank you for representing the district at the luncheon. I know I did the evening one, and then Dr. Daddy Rogers was one of our models out there, wearing a tremendous. We should have a picture of that maybe next meeting. I'd love to see that. She had a lovely headdress display. If you haven't seen it, they're probably about 6 to 8 feet tall, that you wear on top of your head. How they do that, I have no idea. And it's an emotional one. It was to honor Dr. Margaret Hill, and she did so well. And I think about her tonight and what we're going through and the challenges. And so, great job, Dr. Daddy Rogers. You represented our district, our community, and Dr. Hill with dignity, and just were phenomenal. So. Thanks. Dr. Flores.
I don't want to close with a downer, but I have a recommendation for next year. Could we please include a resolution for Cinco de Mayo and also Dia de los Niños, and also a tribute to mothers, because it's Mother's Day coming, and also when Father's Day comes too. I think we need to have a lovely, I don't know if it's a resolution, but just a tribute to to being a mother and grandma, and also when it comes for fathers. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. As a board, we'll take that as a recommendation. I definitely agree with you on Cinco de Mayo, though. That's a big one. And I'll say I did see a great celebration on Sunday, too, in downtown San Bernardino, Mount Vernon for Cinco de Mayo. They had a really nice parade and lowrider show if you're into that. Oh, yeah, it was awesome. All right, been out there quite a bit. Sorry, folks. We'll move on to action items 9.0, 9.1. Approval of personnel report number 19 dated May 3rd, 2022, which contains actions such as hiring, retirements, resignations, promotions, and terminations.
As presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. We'll move on to 9.2, peer assistance review report of participation. Memorandum of understanding between the San Bernardino City Unified School District and the San Bernardino Teachers Association requires that by May 15th, the PAR joint panel must review all PAR service information and report to the superintendent. The names of participants who, after assistance, are unable to demonstrate satisfactory improvement. Report is attached. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approve the peer assistance review PAR report.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, motion carries. We'll move on to 10.0, consent items.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any items be pulled or discussed? All right, doesn't sound like there are any, so we will go ahead and vote on the consent items. Okay, consent items carry, motion carries. We'll move on to 11.0, review of board requests. 11.1, staff will review items, updates requested. Ms. Ontiveros.
Good evening. So the night started requests from Ms. Abigail Rosales Medina, who asked that we would share the video of the Latino History Bee on social media and make sure that people got to celebrate that with our students. There were a couple of public comments that made requests. I did capture those as well, sharing the conservation core and looking into income guidelines for preschools, which I know was echoed later by Abigail Rosales Medina, and Dr. Flores wanted us to consider those. Dr. Flores, also supported by Myra Ceballos, asked if we would reach out to recruit former students from local colleges to work in our CAPS programs. And then Ms. Ceballos asked that we would make sure that those students, if they were hired, were trained appropriately and knew exactly what their basically chain of command was, who was it that they should reach out to for support. Dr. Flores asked then that we would consider offering recreational spaces at all of our high schools, and Ms. Pearson noted that that already does exist at San Bernardino High School, but there could be an opportunity at other schools as well. Ms. Abigail Rosales Medina asked that we would consider also hiring CAPS employees directly as district employees rather than always through third parties. Mr. Tillman and Dr. Flores asked that we would consider continuing and possibly expanding the virtual academy and specifically allowing teachers who are successful there to continue working remotely through the virtual academy. Dr. Funch has mentioned that he would bring back information or an update on the MOU that he's working on with SBTA. Dr. Scott Wyatt then asked if we could consider identifying student board members to represent each one or aligned with each member of the board that you could mentor and that could rotate through attending board meetings. Dr. Scott Wyatt asked if we could bring back a photo of Dr. Dowdy Rogers wearing the headdress honoring Dr. Hill, and I want to give some credit to Dr. Rodriguez, who's going to do one better and has actually arranged for the headdress to come here. So we will have that on display here at the BOE. And Dr. Flores asked that we would consider or would prepare proclamations in future years to make sure that we honored Cinco de Mayo, Dia de los Niños, Mother's Day, and then Father's Day. I think those were the ones that you all asked for. And those were the requests that I captured this evening.
And Ginger, I think you got everything, but I wasn't sure how it was captured on whether we were going to follow up with the teacher that came on just to reach out to kind of close that gap. So I don't know who has it on their radar, but you do. Dr. Rodriguez is shaking her head. Okay. We just wanted to make sure we didn't ignore that public comment to reach out. Thank you.
Yes, we did catch that. She was asking about the income-based preschool. Yes.
Thank you.
That's it. All righty.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There's motion adjourned. Everyone have a good evening. Meeting adjourned.